Hello everyone, and a very warm welcome to another live stream with me, 320 SimPilot. And today we are back in Microsoft Flight Simulator, this time taking the Air UK A320 NEO from here in Exeter, southwest UK, down to, let me get the name right, let me make sure I get the name right, to Perugia, which is the capital of Umbria, or Umbria I should probably say, in Italy. So the reason we're going there, of course, is Valentine's Day. And just to the south, the town of Tawny is, which should be, my understanding, is where St Valentine was from and where he was buried. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go. But yeah, that's the reason. I just thought I'd theme it a little bit. Why not? It's always a good bit of fun. So yeah, thank you all for coming along to the live stream. We're going to try out the latest version of the A320NX mod. And I say latest, this is not in the installer. I stress that again. This is the custom autopilot version. And they've been fiddling with it so much that, yeah, there's so many things changing every day. It's constantly improving. So by the time it's in the installer, you guys are going to have a real treat. It's really nice. So let's jump into the chat and just say hello very quickly. So DMT Donuts, thanks for coming along. I hope you are doing well. And Mark Maliniak, thank you for coming along as well. I hope you are doing well. They had a really video on the vertical descent. Oh yeah, perfect. Yeah, excellent. Thank you guys for coming along. I hope you're doing well. Victor Tango, thanks for coming and moderating. Hello Van der Veen, happy Valentine's Day to you as well. Thanks for coming. Richard V, thank you for coming along to moderate as well. And Russ, I hope you're doing well. Quinare, good to see you here as well, of course. Lizzo5, thanks for coming and moderating. And Swiss Pilot, hope you're doing well. Oh, I've got a message already. That's what does that mean? That's a VATSIM broadcast. They always confuse me, those. Giuseppe's Gaming from Twinfinite, thank you for coming along. I hope you are doing well as well. E-Boss, good to see you. Chris Williamson, hello. Sarah Bellamy, hi, hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming along. And Jimmy as well. The bot should be alive, so you should get the route eventually. It does take some time to wake up sometimes. Chickpoint, hope you're doing well. Kai as well, thanks for coming along. Van Raj, I hope you are doing well. And Charlie Fox, loads and loads of names. Andy Bryant, hope you're doing well. David, thank you for coming. And apologies. SB, good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. An example was taken. Landing Gear 001 is absolutely right. The reason it's Valentine special is because Perugia is near the birthplace of St Valentine. It was just to the south. It was the closest airport I could find. Rome would be the alternative, really. But I thought we'd go somewhere we hadn't been before. So thank you all for coming along. And again, apologies if I miss anyone in the hellos. The chat is moving so fast as ever. Mr. Espresso, I see, is in there. Thank you for coming. Enrico, hope you're doing well. Great to see you guys here. As ever, we'll save all the questions and chat for when we're underway. Russ, good to see you. Rob, Red Thread, hope you are doing good. Kevin as well, piano learner, thanks for coming. I hope your piano learning is going well. Pavel Kostrov, good to see you, Pavel. It's been a little while. I hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming. And Torsten as well. Right, again, Rakon, good to see you. Geordie as well, good to see you, Geordie. And Simon Forrester says it's raining here. Yeah, I think Simon is nearby flying along. We've got a few of us. You can see the 320 NEO fleet is here. This livery, of course, damn, I meant to get rid of that. Oh, well, no problem. Yeah, the livery is by Paddy again, as ever, as I've been called the Paddy Showcase channel before. So I'll keep that moniker by using another retro livery from Paddy. It's really nice. Obviously, it's a bit gloomy here, so we're not going to get the full view of it. By the way, guys, if you're spawning in on VATSIM and you want somewhere to park, there are more parking stands in Exeter Airport over on the other side. It's just over here. So there are more available for you to go and park on if that helps you out. Right, so there we go. Yeah, Air UK, we'll talk about them a bit. Not one I've shown on the channel before. Not an airline I was familiar with, I must admit. Quite a small outfit. There they go. Excellent. So yeah. Is Exeter the British Perugia? Yeah, yeah, maybe it is. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's any fancy chocolates from Exeter, but there we go. Right, again, Matteo as well. Good to see you, Matteo. Thanks for coming along. Right, so I think there's 221 of you. So yeah, you can. Well. The last sort of 20, I'm afraid, are going to have to go into the hold, but up to sort of 200, I think we could squeeze into the cabin. We've gone for ultra low cost, squeeze together seats in this one today. Let us get started. Cold and dark aeroplane with a few little additions you'll notice. Thank you very much to Andy, who contacted me and has sorted out a couple of things. We have our own cell call plates, 320 SimPilot, which is great, and our own coffee cup that we serve on board now. A nice little feature that they've added in this recent build. Again, it may not be in your version, I'm not sure. But yeah, you can just click that and it appears and disappears. But Andy very kindly put our logo onto it. So we're getting, soon we'll have an aeroplane that is entirely my logo, I hope. Sort of on every screen, and the PFD can just be a sort of version of this logo maybe pink and blue for the horizon. Anyway, before we get too down that path, let's get ourselves up and running. So we're on boards, and we'll go for most like normal. Engine masters off, weather radar is off, landing gear lever down, wiper selectors are off. It's very gloomy in here today. Batteries are checked, but we're going to say that's fine. That's still too low, as we always know. That still is something that we need fixed at some point. Master switch come on, external power on. Let the airplane warm up. What I will do, so you guys can actually see what's going on, is get as many lights on in here as possible. There we go. That's a bit better, isn't it? Brighten up the FCU. As I've said before, unless it's like evening time, you typically have all this stuff on full brightness, even when it's that gloomy outside. Oh, that looks like some of the nose lights are on. They're all on. Not sure how that happens. Unusual. There we go. Turn those off. The ground crew would be very unhappy. Oh, and the beacon's on. There we go. Nav lights can be on. Anyway, right. So we're powering up. Give it a little bit of time to warm up. I hope you're all doing well. Alexander Pasuto, good to see you as well. Alexander says, I was wondering if there is a way to change the sail call plate, as I'd like to put my own too. Yeah, so that is from somebody who contacted me from the stream. But there are a few YouTube videos out there, I think, talking about it. I didn't do it myself, though, I must confess. Right. Let us have a look. That's beautiful. Without a coffee cup, it's not a real flight. Yeah, that is very true. You know, if you see pilots in airports, I'm sure you'll see coffee nearby. And if they're not holding one, then they will be on the way to get one. I can guarantee it. It's just a feature, particularly because obviously we work shifts, so shift workers always need coffee, of course, to get through the day. But yeah, nice and bright. I do like it. Oh, there we go. So slowly the tablet is starting to get my airplane into the right place. Slowly. Good stuff. Right, so powered up. Let's get some of these screens down here. The ECAM screens turned on. As ever, this is like an experimental test version, as I do like to say. So there will be bugs and things missing, and particularly the auto thrust column. It will work, but it won't display it properly. That's a known thing. It's on the way because they've done their own auto thrust system to come. So don't panic. Don't panic about anything like that. Right, and we are sort of sat out in the cold. It's 1 degree outside, and there's no ground air. So this will be a very cold airplane. In particular, I've opened up the doors. I'm using the new Pushback helper, and you can see with doors open like this is also really bad news in cold weather. You might have, for example, catering back here. So if the wind is coming from the left, as I think it is today, then it will come into this door, through the cabin and out the back, and it will have a really nice sort of funnel going on. If you open 2 on the same side, obviously it's not quite as bad, but there you go. So let's jump back in. Oh, turn on my Avionics master. There we go. And let us fire up that APU. So we've had our triple click. No, don't do that, please. There we go. Where's the... Oh, there it was. Anyway, you do not open that guard to do the test. I 100% stress that. Do not open the guard unless you're going to use that switch for real. 3 seconds. APU on the way. Great stuff. Right, we'll come over here. Oxygen on. Ground control not functioning yet. Get those navs into a line. Excellent stuff. Tablet is development build only. Yes, the tablet is available in the development build if you install that one. The stable build is missing a lot of these features. They've been making so much progress. The stable build is starting to get a little bit far behind at the moment, but it is the stable build after all, I suppose. And they're constantly tweaking things. Alex TV says, your lights were all on because you pressed L on your keyboard when typing your sim brief name. Perfect. Absolutely solved. Thank you. Very good. Right, let's go to a proper view of that. Where is it going to be? There we go. Right, come down here then. So we've got strobes to auto. Nav lights are on. APU's up and running. Seatbelts on. Although... they should be off already. We haven't fueled up yet. We'd have those off at this point. Let the APU warm up a bit before we start up that, or get the bleed running. Get these fuel pumps online. And there we go. Run the engine fire tests. Let me just check. That's strange. Didn't used to be like that. I'm not sure what's happened, but yeah. There you go. There's a little something. There's always a little something. As I said, little bugs creep in for various reasons. Right. Good stuff. That's the overhead panel done. Then we'll come down here. Let's get... well, I'm going to cheat and press B, one of my favourite Microsoft Flight Simulator features for the Q&H still. We're going to set all of this up later. according to what we're actually going to get cleared to do. There should be some VATSIM control coming, but we'll have constraints on both sides. Flight directors on. They're not going to show us much just yet. Got the ISIS up and running and looking good. Come down here. Weather radar off. Pretty windshield still off. Check that's down. Speed brakes, flaps. Oxygen, loads of oxygen compared to our last flight. Oil, loads of oil, and hydraulics not displayed yet. Great stuff. Right, let's jump into the MCDU. Giuseppe's Gaming says, best way to avoid that issue is inserting your SimBrave name is to type it on the notepad and then just copy and paste it. Ah, there is a good idea. Yeah, thanks. I'll have to remember that one. Click on the lower part of the test button and do not open the guard. Let me try that again then. Ah, there we go. Yeah, there's always a way. Thanks. You guys are always a wealth of information on these things. So let's load up the MCDU. Right, so ATSU, AOC, init, and please load in. Fingers crossed this works. Thank you all for coming along. And yeah, a few people got that APU fixed. Excellent. Copper Mine says FD on the FO side just costs you some performance. Better leave it off. I know. Yeah, I've heard that. I haven't noticed it. I'll put it that way. I haven't noticed it when I've tried. I'm sure it's true. I see no reason why it wouldn't be true, but I haven't noticed it causing me issues to have both flight directors on, and it upsets me so much being an Airbus pilot to see one of the flight directors on and one of them off. It's so we are not allowed to do that ever. So I would rather have them on for the performance hits at this point. Just because I don't think for me it's making much difference, but I can understand that if you need to, yeah, you need to. Right, there we go then. So there is our init. That's the landing page. Good. Let's do a weather request. There's no ATIS here. Oh, actually, before we do that, better off by going to performance, weight and balance. So that's all loaded in. That's going to load us in 7.7 just about, but it usually underloads us a little bit. I'm just going to check with our sim brief. Yeah, that should be good. I'm just going to top that up to let's do 8.1. Oh, it does this, doesn't it? Just because there's so many of us going, goodness knows how we're all going to fit. Okay, let's load that. 8.1, good. Or slightly less, no problem there. And I want a gross weight of, we're looking to get up to a gross weight. It's going to be reasonably heavy today, 65 ton takeoff roughly. So we've got more payload. Let's put that payload to... pounds are so confusing to me. They continue to completely blow my mind. It's slightly too much. So I'm going to need to go down to... Is that going to work? That'll do. 1 ton lighter, but there we go. 128 passengers. Although, as I've said, I'll allow 200 passengers in the aircraft. Rich Tango says, "What is the reason why you cannot have only one flight director on?" I believe in some Boeings you are allowed, but I don't know that for sure. But in the Airbus we don't do it. I just do data, aircraft status. Remind me of that question later, Victor Tango. I'll talk about it once we're underway. Because yeah, it's a good point. Cotton. Cuddle says, "Hey Sim, good to see you. Hope you have a coffee cup next to you in the plane." We do indeed. We have our own branded one sitting right there, which is excellent. Excellent news. Makes me feel warmer already. Database is obviously the only one that we get, but otherwise looking good. So init page, let's request. Fingers crossed it works. Our call sign today, UK 254. UK 254. We're going with a cost index of 30. Pretty fast. Alternate of Rome Fiumicino, of course. And there's our route. Exeter to Perugia. Now that does it automatically these days, which is great. No, we've got a mismatch already. Disaster. Right, that's init A. Flight plan. There's no departures from here, so we're going to depart. The wind is easterly, so I'm pretty sure 08. Insert, and then there should be a discontinuity, but we've filed to go via this waypoint, Cox odds. And then all the way through. Where's the missing waypoint? Okay, looks alright. Lacox is the start of the arrival into Perugia. We're expecting an RLS 01. So I'll just put in the Zulu. And the arrival we were told to expect was... What was the arrival? It was the Larox 1 Lima. Lacox 1 Lima, I should say. So I'm just going to have it all in. Derek's as a transition. Ready to go. There we go. We have a complete flight. Oh, excuse me. Looking at the other page here. So that's 914 nautical miles, which is roughly what I was expecting it to be. Good stuff. Right, so that is DIFS, not active, RadNav, nothing to use. I'll show you what I mean by that shortly. Diffs are init B time. It's loaded in. This does make life quite easy, doesn't it? We've got 8 tons of fuel. There we go, taking off at 64 tons, that's about right. Trip wind, well, the average wind component is going to be plus 42. Pretty good. No, that's not right. What am I doing? What am I doing? It's going to be a tailwind. Let me just check that. Let me check that carefully over here. I'm confusing my formatting on the Lido sim brief that I've been given. So the winds, once we get underway, although it's easterly on the ground, we're expecting them to be sort of westerly. So yeah, so it's going to be a tailwind. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah, all right. So we'll have a tailwind of 42 knots. There we go. That's better. Gives us a trip fuel of 4.1 expected. So pretty good. Pretty light. Should say 500 kilos over an older style aircraft just by being a NEO. Right, so that's a NIT B. And finally, diffs RIP performance. Let's go for a flap 3 takeoff today. Short runway. Flap 3. We'll do a toga takeoff, so we won't put any flex temperature in there. And let's have some numbers. And the runway 08 has an interesting noise abatement. So let me bring that up for you guys. Here we go. So we are here in Exeter on the ground. I'm not sure which stand we're on. I think we're on stand 8. It does frustrate me that the Microsoft Flight Simulator map doesn't really match up with these stands, but there we go. I think we're on 8, and either way, we're departing. So we need to use this noise abatement, and it does say, where's it written? Not there. Here it is. Noise abatement. For arrival, for departure, noise abatement. Here we go. Right, 08. Climb, maximum rate of climb to 1500 feet AAL before turning. And if we look, the airport is it shown on this chart? Which chart do they use? Nope, obviously not shown there. We'll find it on one of these charts. Runway elevation is 4, so that's going to be just over 1500 feet, so that should work out nicely. Just jumping into the chat, and I do apologise again. Vitali says, are you still using the TCA officer pack? I am indeed. This is still the TCA officers pack. That's what I'm using. I really like it for the the thrust levers are really good for the Airbus. Having those detents all available, it's really nice. Yeah, that saves me a lot of hassle, I must admit. Flight time is around about 2 hours. Cost and exit is 30. Just seeing if there's any other questions I've missed. Brianni Silver, thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing well. I hope we got the name right straight off there. So Gosh says, I brought the like count from 99 to 100. Thank you very much. Yeah, if you are enjoying it, do please hit the like button. Really appreciate it. And Brianni says, hey Captain, hope you're doing well. I don't know if I can stay Valentine's Day, just wanted to show my support with a like. Thank you very much, very much appreciate it. And yeah, I completely understand. I've made it a bit earlier today, and we'll be underway soon, but yeah, do please enjoy your days otherwise. But thanks for coming along to say hi. Okay, right, there's the MCDU, pretty much done. Let's put Unicom up for now. 1228. I still haven't fitted my radio. Oh, there we go. Okay. Looking all clear around us. Let's get that APU bleed on. Get rid of the ground power. Passenger signs can come on. Now we have all our fuel on boards. It does, having this SimBrief thing loaded straight in is nice. There's definitely makes the load up quite straightforward compared to what it could be. Tower is online, 1198. Let's see if I can do that. So we'll tune into tower, and what I'll do is I'll bring up my checklist. Okay, so let's just have a think. Where are we in this process? We are, let's look at that departure. That's got to be done. Right, there it is then. As you can see, we're going to go straight ahead from 08. So I'm just going to leave it blank. And in the real aircraft, you can actually just pull heading or select a heading and it will just revert to heading. And we're going to climb straight ahead, get to 1500 feet, and then turn to Coxodds. Actually, we will use the weather radar on my side. Let's put the terrain radar over there. We're going to get the rest of our clearance from air traffic control. I think we're pretty much there. Bob Atwell says, could you sometime do a video on an abbreviated startup using Control E to start the engines? I don't actually know what that would do in this sim, I'm afraid. Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know. Let's close up some of those doors. I do like this. So this is the latest version of the Pushback helper, which has some nice buttons on it where we can do main door, emergency door, cargo door. Close them up. Somebody's pushed back, so let's go onto tower. Get our clearance. Phil Norbeck says, just joining, my stream reminder didn't work. No worries at all, Phil. Thanks for coming along. And yeah, I was a bit late. I didn't get a community post out today in time. As ever, the Discord is the best place. I will always notify the Discord first when there's a new stream coming. Right. 119.8. Am I on the right frequency? I think I am. There's the tower. Okay, I think we're on stand 8. So I'm going to say. And what we should do as well, let's grab some weather. There's no 8 is available, but we can just go to ATSU, AOC, weather request. And there it is. It will get both for us. Why not? Get an idea of what's coming up ahead. I do know it's strong winds from the north, but otherwise fine, which is good because there's only approaches onto the northerly runway. We'd have to circle onto the southerly. But it seems like that's already, they've already got a plan for that. Or, well, we have a plan for that. In that the weather is helping us out with the, northerly arrival. It's just quite windy. Oh, that's not much of a message, is it? Ooh, let's see. Let's try that one more time. Download the meter. Let's send that off. Nebsy says, hey man, how are you doing today? I'm doing very well. I hope you're doing well as well. Okay, that's sent off again. Nope, too far. Clicking too fast. More speed, less. No, what is it? More haste, less speed. No, it seems to not be interested. Don't know why. Blank paper. Oh well. I know that the QNH 1017. I know it's easterly, and I know it's cold. It's this reckons 8 degrees actually, a bit warmer than I thought. Let's hope it is 1017. Exeter Tower, good afternoon. UK 254, stand 8, A320 NEO QNH 1017. Request clearance to Lima, India, Romeo Zulu. I can't hear anything. Ah. No, I had this happen before. I know what's going on. I think. Let me just check. I had this happen before where, okay, the microphone's working. Okay, good. 1198, 1198. And let's see. Ah! Now that's the problem with having a radio panel set up like that. It doesn't have 3 digits.
WK246, the clearance is to join controlled airspace on track Gibbs, so climbing level 190 please as well.
Entering controlled airspace into Gibbs, so UK246.
Correct. Yeah, apologies for the delay, just trying to work that out. Altair 17 Alpha, you ready?
Everyone's on the way.
Copy, 1 South.
Let's play. Evia says, I'm from Bangladesh. Welcome. Thanks for coming along.
London clears you.
Hope you do well.
3 cleared to Lima India Romeo Zulu via Gibso, Golf India Bravo Sierra Oscar, Lima 620 Southampton Sierra Alpha Mike. Join controlled airspace on track Gibso, climb level 190 and squawk.
Richard says, in your overlay, how do you get the FPM rate to work? I just use FlyLive Studio and connect it to with SimConnect. You have to choose which sim you're using, and once that's done, it seems to work.
To Lima, India, Romeo
I haven't done anything else fancy to it, to be honest.
Gibso, Sierra Alpha Mike, and on Gibso, level 190, and squawk 1004, Italia 17 Alpha.
This airport's not set up for this many. Exeter Tower, good afternoon. UK 254, stand 8, 320 NEO, QNH 1017, request clearance Lima India Romeo Zulu.
UK 254, cleared to Lima India Romeo Zulu via Gibso, Golf India Bravo Sierra Oscar, Lima 620 Southampton Sierra Alpha Mike. Join controlled airspace on track Gibso, climbing level 190, squawk 4453.
Okay, UK 254 is cleared to Lima India Romeo Zulu via Gibso, then Lima 620 to Southampton. Cleared to enter controlled airspace on track Gibso, climb flight level 190, squawking 4453, UK 254.
UK 254, correct.
Okay, one of the more complicated clearances. So that suggests we're not in controlled airspace at the moment. I thought we were, but yeah, I'm pretty out of touch. So squawk is 4453, that's there. I think we need to set this to on for that to work properly. And we'll have that set to all. So the squawk's in. We're cleared to join controlled airspace while climbing to flight level 190. So I'll put 190 in there, but we stay on QNH until we get an airborne. Silly otherwise. We've got our noise abatement, which is straight ahead, and then we're going to go via. Let's see if we can make this work. This is going to be a bit of pain, really. Let's go to Gibso. What I'm going to do, Gibso Lima 620 Southampton. Let's see if I can just pull that up in the charts. Gibso, where is Gibso?
Small flight 1 for the mic, correct.
So, what I could normally do would be to type in Gibso instead of there, but I have a horrible feeling none of this sort of stuff will work today.
Gibso, squawk 1004.
Exeter Tower,
It might work.
A320N on the south apron.
We're not doing the member 18, so he's re-cleared us. That's why that's why it's a longer clearance than usual. So we're doing Gibso and then airway Lima. That's got to remember. See, this is my problem. I'm not sure that's going to work. But what I'm going to do is just check. Where's Gibso? Gibso?
QNH 1008 facing east and runway 08.
Lima 620.
Correction, face west.
Gibso. It's a straight line. So Lima 620. I can show you actually how I've done that. Stand by, guys. Let me bring up the charts for you. As I said, this. Somebody asked, could you do a VATSIM tutorial? Again, I must do that. It's on the list. It's a big topic, VATSIM and charts too. I want to cover. I'm just trying to think of the best way to do it. But anyway, just to show you guys what I'm thinking here, we're going to take off, get airborne. We were supposed to go via Coxod, but that waypoint's actually quite close in. That's just how SimBrief came up with its flight plan, and it's also not attached to an airway, so it's not ideal. So we've been cleared to take off, then go towards Gibso, which is, I did find it. There it is. Then join the Lima 620 all the way to the Southampton VOR. So it's a straight line. So Gibso, Southampton. So this route in here should now work nicely for us. So that's solved that one.
To Perugia.
And if I look in here, we're going to get airborne straight ahead, then route Gibso, and off we go to Southampton. So that'll be absolutely fine. The only awkward moment will be if he clears us to a different waypoint in between those two, but we could just type those in. Right, I think we're pretty much ready to go. Before I check this, cockpit prep is completed for both of us. Gear pins and covers removed. Signs are on auto. ADAs are in nav.
Tower Lee 467 file down.
Fuel quantity is 8 tons and nicely balanced. Takeoff data is set. We're not going to use nav for this one. And barrier ref set 1017. Let's get clearance. UK 254 stand 8. Request push and start.
UK 254, stand 8, push us on approved, face west, runway 08 and QNH 1018.
Push shuttle approved, facing west, runway 08, QNH 1018, UK 254. 1018. 1018, there it is. I like that it does at least those two at once. There we go, 108. Push shuttle is approved, so let's call the tug. I'm hoping this works. I don't know.
Italy 467, we're ready for Karen.
And we're going to face... We're currently facing south, so we need to face that way. So let's see if we can make this do a tight enough turn. Is there a tug on the way?
What's this number?
I did press tug.
Tower UK 246, would it be possible to go direct from Gibso to Sam? Because I can't enter the Lima 620
Yeah,
runway in
anyone
the
watching, or anyone who's streaming with us, oh, I've done it again, then don't panic. Just go to Gibso and then Southampton. It should work out for this one. Right, the tug's not here. That's a bit disappointing. It says active. Tug, jetway fuel, cargo emergency main. So the doors are all closed. Oh well. Looks like we're just going to have to go. So, I don't know why the animation doesn't seem to be working. Maybe it's because we're on a strange stand. So let's get the beacon on. Thrust levers to idle. Transponder can come to auto. Windows and doors are closed. Yep. And let's do below the line. Windows, doors closed. Beacon on. Mobile phones off. Thrust levers idle. Parking brake is set. Let's do reverse. Release. Yeah, it doesn't seem to have the animation. Bit of a shame. I liked this pushback helper a lot, but there we go. And I think we're going to need to do a left turn pretty quickly, or we're not going to fit. It's a pretty tight turn here. Good afternoon to Joseph. Thanks for coming. Yeah, we're doing 2-engine taxi, so we'll start engine 2 first. That's correct. Looks like we might make it on this pushback. Let's start up engine number 2. Most thanks. We've got pressure. Starting 2. Starting the timer. Right, we're stopped. Set that brake. Hopefully, there goes the tug. What a gloomy day. Can't wait to get out into the sunshine. Love it. Very smart livery. I do like it. It's grown on me a lot. I like the... It's a really strange setup having this sort of bald spot on top with the white. But yeah, there is a reason for it. I'll talk about it when we're on the way. Okay, there's one engine. And a veil. And restart the clock. Starting engine number 1. Excellent. What I should do is set up the interior camera already. Don't know why you always have to click that twice to make it work, but there we go. Yeah, the ATIS name isn't working, sadly. There's no ATIS in vPilot, but thanks for the tip, Yusuf. Thank you. I'm on VATSIM indeed, Pillow Pilot. I am indeed. The timer is because... It's a good question. We time the engines. Now, FADEC is monitoring everything, but there are certain run-up times. It also gives us an earlier clue. So, for example, if the EGT doesn't start rising within a certain amount of time and so on, this will give us a clue that there's a problem. And it would do that earlier than if we just weren't timing. But yeah, it's just because there are some limits. On older aircraft, this used to be done every start because it was really important. Now the FADEC is so advanced, it does a lot of it for us, but we still time it. Okay, that's available. Let's time that. And engine mode back to normal. That was 2 engines started using my actual thrust lever quadrant, which is a new record on this channel. Absolutely a new record. Right. So the heading bug's all wrong. I'm going to set it just to 080. What you can do in the real aircraft is you can line up on the runway in nav mode, and then you can just twist this, and it will just bring up the heading, and then it will have it automatically. It will do this automatically, which is quite nice. Anyway, there we go. It's a short taxi, but I think we'll get out of the way so we can get some people pushed back. UK 254, request taxi. Anyway, let's finish our slow as well. I should have done that first, really.
UK 254, hello, taxi holding point Alpha 1, runway 08 via Alpha.
Taxi Alpha 108 via Alpha, UK 254. You've changed.
We have.
There we go. Right, we don't need the APU.
Italia 17 Alpha, request taxi.
Reset the trim.
Hello,
Flaps to
Italia
3,
17
unusually
Alpha,
today.
Taxi holding point Alpha 1, runway 05 via Alpha.
And let's get the... that's it. Oh, yeah,
Taxi
and finally
holding
the
point Alpha 1
CG.
Alpha,
29.5.
08, Italia 17 Alpha.
Always hard to see properly, but there we go.
Tower Italy 467,
Slightly
we're
nose
waiting on
forwards,
clearance.
which is good. Okay. After our checklist then, anti-ice is on, ECAM status is checked, all looking good. Pitch trim is set, rudder trim is 0. That is the after-start checklist complete. Let's get out of the way. Brakes released.
UK 246, ready for your
Early
question.
pushback helper. Hopefully it's clear on the left and clear on the
UK
right.
246, stand by, I'll call you back.
Taxi lights on.
Stand
Let's
by,
get
UK
moving.
246.
Lima Charlie 179, are you ready for departure?
Ooh, pretty heavy. Doesn't want to move.
Smooth Planet 179 at Alpha 1, ready for departure.
Could be a slightly twisted nose wheel, we shall see.
Small Planet 179 via Alpha 1, runway 05, clear for takeoff.
What is going on?
Winds
Why is
150
it not
degrees,
moving? There we
16,
go.
gusting
There
26
we
knots.
go. What a gloomy, gloomy day.
Via Alpha 1, cleared for
Let's hope
takeoff.
it's nicer in Perugia. Right, let's do our flight controls. So,
Tower Easy
left,
66 with you,
full
stand
right,
4.
neutral,
Airbus
full
320
down,
NEO, QNH
full up,
1017, clearance
neutral, and
to
of course, we've seen me
Perugia.
make a mess of this before. Full left, full right, neutral. I hope they added a disconnect button.
Easy
We're following this other
66,
traffic down here, going for the
hello,
full
you're
length.
clear to Perugia via the Berryhead, November 856 on track to Coxod, climbing flight level 90, squawk 1145.
And we'll head down here.
Sorry, could you repeat that, please? Easy 66, that was different from what we were expecting.
Yeah, it's a slightly different
Easy
clearance.
66.
Simbrief didn't pick it up. That's my. I shouldn't have posted that.
South. Oh, sorry, correction. You are going to the northwest, aren't you?
Correct, Lima, India, Romeo, Zulu.
I hope they get that sorted. Right, we're clear to Alpha 1.
And Easy
Here's
66,
a
just
stop
stand by for 2 seconds.
bar. Let me just make sure I have the right chart. So that's, where's Alpha 1? That should be Alpha 2 effectively, or the low vis. Thank you very much for your donation. Right, I need to bring this plane to a stop here. Let's do that. Let's stop here. Let's get a few of these things solved. So brake set. Right, let me bring up that chart. Make sure we don't overdo it on the taxi outs. So the taxi chart is not very descriptive. Alpha 1, yeah, it's right down. So Alpha 1's just up here, though it should be a bit... Oh, there we go. I think I can see the line. Thank you very much, Tom P, to your 50 CZK donation. Thank you very much. Really appreciate it, Tom. I hope you're doing well. Tom says, hello, could you please show your sensitivity on the Thrustmaster TCA quadrant? I can show you very briefly. Basically, if you're using the... Actually, I don't want to disconnect from VATSIM here, but my settings are set according to what was provided by Fly-by-Wire on their GitHub page for using the development version of the mod. So when they added their own custom Fly-by-Wire system, you needed...
UK 254 Exeter.
Go ahead, UK 254.
Can you just confirm your clearance from the previous controller, please?
Yeah, so we're expecting to go from... We're going to take off and then route to Gibso. After Gibso, Lima 620 to Southampton.
Right, okay, he hasn't updated your flight plan, that's fine. Okay, I'll sort that out for you, my end.
Thanks. Yeah, I think our Simbrief flight plan wasn't particularly valid.
No. Freight rate, all stations, this Exeter, if you are routing to Perugia this evening, can you just check that you have in your flight plan Gibso, Lima 620, and then to Southampton, please?
And if any of you guys are watching, this is a bit of a mess, I do apologise, but yeah, Gibso direct Southampton will work out for you. Close enough. Right, brake is set. Done our flight controls. Let's get that radar online because I said we wanted that for takeoff. Predicted wind shear. Let's get the TCAS to TARA. Auto brake to max.
Station calling Exeter tackles, I think.
And do the cabin crew call, takeoff config test. Let's run the checklist. So we've got, before takeoff checks, flight controls checked, flight instruments are checked.
UK
Oh wow, that's a lot of weather.
Thank you very much. You are cleared to
Briefing is
Perugia.
confirmed.
Runway 05,
Flaps
routing
and setting
Gibso,
we
Lima
have
620 Southampton.
3
Climb initially,
and
flight
3,
level 90,
so slightly different takeoff to normal.
0215.
FMA takeoff, we've got 122, 127 climb. We're not using nav. 1FT2 climbing to a flight level 190 for now. The altitude is displayed. We're using toga thrust for this takeoff. Toga thrust. Transponder is set to TRA. ECAM memo is on takeoff. No blue. Right, there we go. We're in a pretty good place. Yeah, that Simbrief waypoint was just too close. Anyway, it's doing us good to sit here while a few more people get clearance and get pushed back.
UK 572, read back.
Perhaps chose a bit of a small airport for this one.
Ready to start.
So there we go. We're going to go full length. I'll just roll around here when we are ready to go. Okay, right. Let's just jump into the chat very briefly to see what I've missed. I'm sure I've missed loads of
UK
things.
254, Exeter.
Go ahead, UK 254.
Sorry to ask you again. So can you just confirm your routing from the previous controller just so I can put it into the system?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are going to take off from 08 and then route to Gibso, climbing to flight level 190. After Gibso, Lima 620 to Southampton. And
right, so after departure runway 08, Gibso, Lima 620 to Southampton, initial climb flight level 190 for UK 254.
That's agreed. Thanks, UK 254.
And UK 254, report ready for departure.
We'll go UK 254. I'm just going to... Let's see, what have we got? So we've got that strong headwind shown there, crosswind from the right as well, so it is a bit of a breezy day. Got the traffic, so someone's taken off in front of us, so I think a few of those will push back shortly. But yeah, bit of a confused startup for this one because of that clearance. So again, apologies to those of you flying along. Right, UK 254 ready for departure.
In for clearance.
Oh, whoops.
Airline 467, we're ready for clearance.
Kim, when to use toga and flap 3? Yeah, it's a shorter runway.
And India Sierra 467.
I'm pretty sure we wouldn't need toga, but you might need flap 3. I'm not using performance calculator here, but that's just... You could probably get away with a flex temperature, but not... This wouldn't be a flex 69. This would be a lower flex temperature, maybe flex, I don't know, 50, 55. It depends on the conditions and your weight. But yeah, this is a bit of a shorter runway for a 320, certainly. Yeah, that's not a reassuring weather radar. That's just showing us a lot of rain. It's not very circular, it's just loads and loads of rain, so it's not showing me thunderstorms, but you don't see red very often unless it's you are seeing thunderstorms.
467, stand turn, push and start is approved, face to the west.
Right, time to get going. Done it in 45 minutes, not bad. UK 254 ready for departure.
Just waiting clearance as well.
Yeah, the tower's doing really well.
All stations stand by. Break, Lima, Charlie.
You'll recognise this controller, a few of you, from the VATSIM help session we did a little while back, and also from our arrival recently into... where was it?
Lima, Charlie 179, Exeter Tower.
When we arrived
into... station calling for push and start. Say again.
I'm forgetting where we went now. Goodness me, I keep forgetting where we've been.
UK 572, South Apron, push and start is approved.
We revived UK. So Air UK did have a base here at Exeter. They certainly operated from Exeter. Right, UK 254 ready for departure.
UK 254 via Alpha 1, runway 08, clear for takeoff, surface winds 150 degrees, 16 knots, gusting 26.
By Alpha 1, clear for takeoff, runway 08, UK 254. Right, let's get the lights on. That's all on. Good stuff. Right. Low line cabin is secure. Engine mode select is norm. TCAS TRA packs are going to be on. That's the before takeoff checks complete. Let's head out there.
Calling for clearance. Who is that?
Let's get underway. Hopefully get out through this icing. Yeah, 45 minutes already passed.
Speedbird 217, you are clear to Perugia off runway 08, routing Gibso, Lima 620, Southampton, climbing flight level 90.
Right, here we go then, guys. Time to get out of here. Get somewhere sunny.
Clear to Perugia, runway 08, Gibso, Lima 620.
No, it's good fun seeing everyone flying.
Flight level 190, 4472, Speedbird 217.
Right.
Speedbird 217, read back correct, QNH 1018.
Excellent.
EZ626, ready to copy clearance.
Okay, strong crosswind from the right, so we're going to need left rudder as we start the takeoff, most certainly.
Climbing flight level 90, squawk is 1145.
Okay, we are cleared to go.
Cleared, Perugia via runway
There we go,
08.
right. Half slice it forward, let's start the chrono.
St Valentine, initial climb 90, squawking 1145.
Half slice it down, 50% M1. Let's go.
Easy 626, QNH1018, read back correct.
Stabilise.
QNH1018,
All the clicks forwards. So Mantoga should be there, not displaying at the moment as we know from the bug, but SRS is working.
UK
Needing left rudder already.
Stand number 8, push and start is approved.
And we're not using nav. 80 to 100, getting that side stick to neutral.
Can you confirm the initial
Oh dear, takes a lot of rudder.
flight of 190 UK 24?
And V1 rotates. Nose wheel up, release the rudder.
Going to be climbing flight level 90.
Positive climb, gear up. There's runway track, which is what we're going to do until 1500 feet.
Thank you.
And away we go.
Currently 467, ready for taxi.
Now that's quite a high pitch for a flat 3 takeoff, so I'm going to lower that nose in preparation.
Alpha 1 by Alpha, runway 08, currently 467, thanks.
And off we go. Fantastic.
Tower easy 5665.
There's the queue behind us.
West 9
Now there's magenta on the radar again. Shouldn't really do that in just rain.
Easy 5665, Exeter Tower, good.
Okay, there we go.
You're
It's going to open climb.
Perugia,
2 clicks back this time.
Lima 620, Southampton.
Now we're going to let it accelerate. Let's get autopilot 1 in.
90,
Let's open climb.
2167.
Once we get above that green F, I'm going to bring those flaps from 3 to 1. We're climbing up to flight level, so let's set standard. And we're above 1500 feet. So we need to go direct to Gibso. Luckily, that is in front of us. So hopefully, if I do that, nav to Gibso should engage. Let's see, it might take us a bit right then left.
Easy 5665, just confirm it's climbing flight level 90.
Right, there we go, flaps to 1. As you can see, they are now coming up to 1.
Clear to Perugia, climb and maintain flight level 09.
That's like an exploded paint factory, yeah, good point.
Squawk 21.
Yeah, Victor Tango.
Easy 5665.
Come on, accelerate.
Easy
Accelerate, lower that nose, let's get going.
Brake, UK 254, stop climb, flight level 90.
Stop climb, flight level 90, UK 254. Okay, 90.
And UK 254, you can give London a call now, 129.425, bye-bye.
129.425, UK 254, thanks for your help, goodbye.
And UK 254, just before you go, if you have any issues about frequency, let me know, because I think they're covering this side, but they keep going on and off.
No problem, will do, thanks UK 254.
Cheers.
Okay, let's
Easy 66,
at 90, flaps are at 0. So,
Easy
flaps
626,
at
stand
0,
by, brake,
disarm the ground spoilers, let's get rid of those lights. Okay, so let's just recap what we're doing here. We're on climb thrust, we've got the gear up, we've got the flaps up, and we are going to accelerate at 250 knots, and we're going to climb to flight level 90, all looking pretty reasonable. I've not seen that flickering before, that's a new one on me. Engine anti-ice is on, because we are sitting, actually we're a bit fast, so at plus 14 we're not actually in icing conditions, but we will be soon as we climb up. Right, let's get onto that frequency,
Alitalia
129.
A320 via Alpha 1, line up runway 08 behind.
45.
Find the departing Alitalia 320, we'll line up via Alpha 1 behind, directly 467.
Exeter Tower, UK 572.
Let's see if that worked. 45 it did, hooray. Sounds like there's someone out there. Anyway, let's pull the vertical speed and lower that nose. 2,000, let's do 1,500 feet per minute as we get closer to that level off. London, good afternoon, UK 254, climbing flight level 90 to Gibso.
UK 254, hello, climbing flight level 370, direct to Zamab.
Climb flight level 370, direct to Zamab, UK 254.
London, good day, easy 24 Bravo Golf.
370, that's our cruise, so that's great news. Let's get up and out of this cloud as quickly as we can. You can see it hasn't given us icing yet, unusually for Flight Simulator. But it is gloomy, my goodness.
Speed 160 knots till forward, DMA, report established.
Open climb, out blue, 370, away we go.
150, so look at you. We'll report established, right,
We've been cleared direct to Zanab.
Thank you, contact
Let's see if that's going to work for us.
Tower 124.225.
No, it's not going going to be in there, is it?
Turn on 124.225, thanks for service,
I know it's called that.
Easy 57 Delta Whiskey, descend to altitude 3,000 feet.
Where does that sit?
Descend altitude 3,000, easy 57 Delta Whiskey.
So it should be on the next airway, I think.
With you, flight level 370.
91456.
Right.
Hello.
Let's go. We'll work it out after that. This is the continuing problem with this. I can't wait until we can get rid of this default lateral navigation stuff. This is still the default. This is not part of the fly-by-wires updated stuff, so it's still frustrating. Right, there we go. Severe ice. Yeah, we know. Let's put the engine master ignition. Wing anti-ice on. We're above 10,000 feet, so landing lights off. I'll leave the seatbelts on because we're still bouncing around in some nasty weather, strong winds as well across us. So let's leave that. Let's run the after takeoff climb. Checklist. Landing gear is up, flaps retracted, packs both on, power ref is on standards. Okay, we know severe ice detected. As I said, that is not a feature you get on a lot of Airbuses. That's a paid option that some airlines will pay for, but I've never seen it installed. So yeah, I don't see it. Normally Airbuses don't have it. I've flown smaller aircraft that do have an anti-ice or an ice detector, but the Airbus, we just have to look. Yes, Papa, it says, when being told to change frequency, how much time do you have to change? It does depend. You know, it's not a priority straight away if you've got other things to do, such as deal with the ice, obviously, and the retracting. The worst case is they'll call you back and say, did you actually change? The other problem is, of course, you could forget. So it's a balancing act, but there's no actual set time limit. I'm sure maybe written down somewhere in some regulation there is, but it will have to just be secondary to whatever you were doing. But yeah, if you don't check in with the next frequency, they'll probably phone up the controller you're talking to, and then they'll contact you again, something like that. William, hello, thanks for coming along. Corrosive Moon, good to see you as well. Hope you're doing well.
Easy 24 Bravo Golf.
Easy 57 Delta Whiskey, speed 160.
Tally says, how much would the cockpit shake in real life in this type of climb, in this weather? Because Microsoft Flight Simulator makes it seem very calm. Something tells me that's not real. No, it's, in terms of visually, you know, you'd have to be pretty bad turbulence for your vision to start being shaken around. So, and it just depends on the weather. You can fly through clouds that look... Oh, why is it flickering?
Good evening, Alitalia 1 Alpha.
You can fly through clouds that are completely smooth, and you can fly through others that are just bumpy as anything, and you can fly through clear air that's bumpy. So there's really no absolute rule in any of that. So yeah, I don't have an answer for that, I'm afraid. Samuel Leonard says, any issues with the auto thrust EGT are because the custom autopilot is waiting for a custom auto throttle, but it can't be put into the sim yet until the next update, so it's using the workaround for now. Thank you, yes, yeah. So, as I said earlier, guys, this blank space is not, this is a known issue. It's not an issue really, it's just waiting. So once we get the next update, we can get on with it. So Zamab, we're heading to Zamab. Let me have a look.
Hello, descent flight level 80, level by Timber. Descent level 80, level Timber, easy 190.
So Zamab was on that, it's on the Lima 612 airway. So after Zamab, it goes Bembo, Zamab, and then we go from Zamab to...
Well, control LOA, France 12 kilo, we are with you.
What was after Bembo?
France 12 kilo, hello, climb flight level 230. Flight level 230, France 1.
Golf Whiskey Charlie. Is that right? Let me check. Yeah, the lateral nav is just something I'd really like to see.
With you passing through,
should go Bembo, up Lima 612 to Resme.
683, contact Heathrow direct to 119.725. 119.725 to bird 683. West Alpine 96 Hotel Golf.
It's just lost half of that routing, hasn't it? It has lost half of that. We'll fix that as we get underway. Let's hope we can get above the cloud for now. Oh, there it is. We'll sort that out when we get up there. It's rare, you know, in a jet airliner that can cruise up at 370. It's rare to get stuck in cloud for the whole flight. Very rare. Usually you do manage to get above it, which is a nice perk of flying a jet airliner as opposed to a turboprop.
Just say the call sign, please.
Ridley 467.
Axel Jack says, why do you set the stick forward when taking off? It's because you want to get extra pressure on that nose wheel. You want extra weight on the nose wheel when you're taking off to make sure that you get grip at the start of the takeoff roll. Remember, the engines are underneath the aircraft, so if you add a load of thrust underneath here, it pushes the nose up slightly. Now the Airbus deals with that in flight by counteracting it with the elevator and all sorts, and the computers do that. But on the ground, you're in a sort of direct mode, so all it can do is, well, it can't do a lot really. You haven't got enough air over the controls, so it just helps a little bit keeping that grip on the nose wheel.
So if we could get extra miles, please, that'd be appreciated.
No problem.
Yeah, it's missed out all the airways. Because we don't want to go to Goodwood. I'm going
No, sorry, I'm afraid I don't.
get rid of Goodwood. And we don't want... Let's insert that. We're not going to Gibso anymore. It's gone. See what I mean? And we're not going to Southampton anymore. Let's get rid of that. Maybe that's going to work a bit better. Don't turn left. Don't turn left. I've got in trouble. It's heading... I'm going to clear out Bembo. See if I can delete that. There we go. And I'm going to do direct again to Samab. Oh, I hope the other people flying along are using the X-plane, because this is not ideal. It's not behaving very well today with the routing, I must say. Right, Zamab, let's try nav. There we go. It's taking us right to Zamab. Andy Robinson, thank you very much for your $9.99 US donation. Really appreciate it, Andy. Andy says, very cool watching you sort out last-minute flight plan changes. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Andy, and thank you very much for your donation. Really appreciate it. I hope you're doing very well over in America. Must be quite early in the morning over there, but yeah, thank you very much. Don't need that chrono anymore. Let's get up above the clouds. It does make life a lot more pleasant when you're up above those clouds. Oh dear, we have lost
London Control, good afternoon,
everything.
UK246.
Now it's going to be left to Samab. Right, this is going to take a bit of work. Thank you very much again, Andy, for your donation. Really appreciate it.
Hello,
Lucas says smoking mode isn't on. It is, it just doesn't travel, so it is actually in the middle position. You can turn it on fully, but you leave it in auto for flying. Zephyr says, next time you get a waypoint mismatch error when importing a flight plan, enter random AKOs and then read it. Ah, interesting, okay. So we're going to Zamab. After Zamab, let me check. I want to go to... Apologies guys, while I'm just trying to work this one out.
Sorry, I missed the call sign. I was on the landline.
Yeah, it's Tomjet
on the landline, yeah, that's the air traffic control. They do genuinely say that a lot.
Tomjet 50 Hotel, no problem. Turn left turn heading 180.
Put Zamab here.
Left all the way around 180, Tomjet 50 Hotel.
Speed at 73
It just doesn't appear.
Turn left heading 350 degrees, speed 220.
Dear.
350 degrees, speed 220.
Oh, that sort of worked.
London, good afternoon.
Hopefully it'll turn left in a second.
Departing
Let's put back our line at least. Come on, turn left. Turn left.
90.
Turn left.
Lufthansa 485, thank you.
Turn left. Oh.
73 Juliet, central altitude 4,000 feet.
Not doing it. Alright then.
4,000 feet, QH 1023,
There's Zam over there. Let's try that one. This controller's being very patient. Right, okay.
Lots 112 descent.
Zamab to Exeter. Is that going to be right? Jack Tar, thank you very much for your $10 donation, Jack. Really appreciate it. Jack says, at sea, we call this weather Harry Thickers Bon Voyage. Thank you very much, Jack Tar. Really appreciate it. Thank you for your $10 donation. I hope you're doing well. Here we go. Finally. Oh, the world seems better. Now you have a lovely sip of your coffee. Slurp. Oh, that's better. Warms the soul. Oh, see all the frustrations in the lateral nav, and then you get this sort of view as you skim out the top of the clouds. And it's so easy to forget about all the frustration you had trying to get the airplane to go in the right way. I mean, it's going too far left again. I don't know why it's doing this. Let's go heading. Oh yeah, new reflections, which do look amazing. That is really accurate. Yeah, nice reflections on the screens. A bit of dirt, a bit of grime, a bit of dust.
Speed 180, not to turn left heading 280.
I'm just going to track towards Zamab and then figure out the next waypoint after that. Here we go, Zamab, Airways.
London Centre, UK 572 is en route to Gibso at 6,000, destined at 9,000.
Upper Lima, 612.
572, hello, climb flight level 360.
Climb flight level 360 from UK 572.
Last 112, turn right now, heading to.
I'm going to have to check with him where he wants us to go after Zamab, because I'm not entirely sure that was definitely on our flight plan at this point. Bembo, just go Bembo Zamab.
085,
I know Resme's in France.
543, Papa climb flight level 380.
There we go, Zamab Resme, that's more on the airway. From Resme, I'm supposed to take the airway up in like 975.
340, that's fine.
Yeah, it was a pre-FL, but I changed it later.
Oh man. Oh dear. Right. None of this is working. This must be something I've done earlier in the setup with this mods.
110 clear ice, target 50. Beaver 73 Juliet, turn right heading 350.
We'll piece it together as we go. Resme pictures, you can see that's the airway we want to be on. Anyway, we're out of that icing, so engine mode select can go to norm. Wing and engine anti-ice can come off. Seatbelts can go, they can go and enjoy a stretch leg stretch.
Easy 19 Juliet Tango.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful view as ever.
Easy 19 Juliet Tango. Easy 19 Juliet Tango, hello, descend flight level 80, level.
Thank you again to Jack Tar, and thank you to Andy Robinson for your donations, really appreciate it, very kind of you guys.
Timber and expect vectors ILS 081, easy 19 Juliet Tango.
London Centre, Big Bird 247 Bravo with you at flight level 10 inbound.
Okay, so
Sierra Alpha Mike.
That's the 2 waypoints.
Big Bird 247 Bravo, hello, climb flight level 390, squawk 7316.
Should do a little bit of a right, and then it should come left and track towards Zamab.
London Centre, speed 99 and up, 9901 with your flight level 200 inbound, Kennet.
Yeah, one at a time, please. Speed 247 Bravo, squawk 7316, climb flight level 390.
Nope, it's not having it. What we're going to do then is we're going to just track towards Zamab.
Bravo, flight level 390,
we'll be there pretty soon.
7316. Speedbird 247 Bravo.
Speedbird 73 Juliet,
and then
050 degrees, cleared RLS 08.
Once we've done that,
05 degrees, cleared RLS 08.
I'm going to put direct to
Resme. Good afternoon, this is Ryanair 39 Golf.
Hopefully that'll be that. This must be because I didn't reset it when we loaded it up at the start. Kilo Sierra says, why have a no smoking on off switch in modern jets? Yeah, well, it's because we, there's nowhere to smoke on an airliner, of course, and you're not supposed to. But it's because people might not remember or maybe didn't fly since. There are some aircraft out there that have, instead of no smoking signs, the signs are actually for your mobile phone, like personal electronic devices.
0377.
So what they say is that they'll be lit when you can use them and when you can't. Oh, they'll be lit when you can't use them. Sorry. Which is quite a nice idea as well.
124.225, Tomjet 50 Hotel. Speed 73 Juliet, speed now 160 knots till 40 ME.
Infinite 224, yeah, coffee's here. Yeah, indeed it is.
73 Juliet, contact tower 124.125.
Day Climate says, can't believe you're flying to my home airport. Excellent, that's good. Vladislav says, I hope you fly to Moscow. Yeah, Moscow, that's on the list as well. Reflections is a mod or default? Okay. The Reflections is part of this mod. In this, I'm not sure which version it's in at the moment, whether it's in development or not.
Easy 1 Whiskey Alpha, hello, squawk 0323, descend flight level 90.
Right.
Descending 90 and again squawk please to Easy 1 Whiskey Alpha.
Easy 1 Whiskey Alpha, squawk 0323.
0323.
Easy 19 Juliet Tango, speed 250.
Okay, 20 miles to go. Let's just keep tracking towards it. Luckily, track is displayed for us. I'm sorry, I won't get the name right.
Juliet Tango speed 250 knots.
Begins with Mac. But they say, good day, Gavin. I'm not sure why they say good day, Gavin. And then they say, any chance you've encountered an issue when APU doesn't want to turn off despite you switching it off on the overhead?
I've
never seen that bug.
5,500,
I've never seen that bug.
Flight level 90, direct Gibso.
Easy 626, hello, climb flight level.
Dave Guyman says, if I hear one more with you, is there a problem with you?
250, easy 66.
Tony says, hello mate, just wondering, does predict descent level off symbol implement on Airbus 2020? I don't think it's implemented yet. Here we go, here's a level off. It does have a level off prediction there, so in the climb it's working. But for the descent, no. That star, there we go.
543 Papa, you're leaving my airspace, no continuing, Unicom, bye-bye.
Thrust will come back. 7A, excellent news, we're on the way.
Locked 112, descenter altitude 4,000
fix
feet.
that.
QNH 1024.
QNH 1024,
That's better. It does seem to have an aerodynamic impact as well. When you remove the ice, the airplane gets extra energy and the thrust comes back. It's quite good. Okay, let's set that TCAS to below.
Under 7 Lima Tango, hello, climb flight level 170.
Do a systems check. All looking good. As we know, a lot of these pages are sort of, they're just placeholders. Some of them work. Oh, the conditioning seems to work now. That's good. Good stuff. Luchato says, I've tried the mod with the autopilot, it's always doing a right turn, do you know how to fix it? Sadly not, I haven't seen it. Well actually, having said that, when I go into nav it does seem to do a right turn continuously. Oh no, it's going left. Oh, maybe it's getting a right idea now. I think it's a sequencing issue. Yeah. I'm just going to pick the next waypoint.
London, good afternoon, Speedbird 398, runway heading 090, passing 2000.
The visual only icing is not visual only. No, it's definitely not. It's definitely reducing our rate of climb. It looked like a sluggish climb at halfway up there. But yeah, there you go.
Flight level 170, direct settling, Speedbird 398.
Ah, there you go. Some people are saying if you're having that autopilot turning all the time, turn up the dead zones. It could be your controller putting in input. Axeman 3D says, have you... Oops, that's... Sorry, was that for UK 254? Thank you, Unicom. Goodbye, UK 254.
Yeah, small planet 179.
There we go. Unicom it is. It's good. We can deal with our navigation issues on the way. Hayden J. Robbins, thanks for coming. Says, good afternoon, Captain. I trust the Hilfiger uniform is being worn today. No, not today. No, my one Hilfiger jumper isn't on today. Hayden picked up on it in my Thrustmaster unboxing video and is convinced I have a lot of Tommy Hilfiger, but no, I sadly do not. And that one piece was bought on sale in an outlet. I promise. Right, there we go. Right, let's go direct to res me, please. Insert. Nav. I mean, we could do it in heading. It's not going to be the hardest flight ever to do in heading. It's not even that long. But it'd be nice if we can get nav at least to work. Sasha says, how long until we land? Well, probably hour and a half. Maxim says, thanks, terribly sorry if I messed up your name. No, that's okay. No, but I'm not called Gavin. Louis says, is it normal for the plane to swerve slightly to the left of the line on the ND throughout the flight with the autopilot on? No, it's not normal. There's lots of lateral navigation issues. The lateral navigation is still basically the default one as I understand it. So there's work to be done on that. I don't think it's going to play ball at all. I think we're stuck with this. Heading. Alright, well, you guys keep an eye out for me then. Make sure I do actually... Make sure I do actually turn at some of these waypoints. Rebecca says, splitting my attention between the Ireland, France rugby and this 320 sim pilot is winning. Good to hear. Glad to hear it. I'd hope so too. Klaus Kroner, thank you very much for your 50 Danish kroner donation. Really appreciate it. Klaus says, nice of you to do the flying so I can enjoy my G&T. Yeah, absolutely. Please do. And as you've seen, we now sell coffee on board. But yeah, thank you very much for your donation. Really appreciate it. I hope you're doing very well. So here's our lovely livery. Made by Paddy, who's made a few of the liveries we have on the channel. And yeah, this was obviously never fitted to a 320. Certainly not a 320 NEO. But Air UK, this was their original livery. And then eventually they had to change it, and they had a white tail added because the UK CAA was not too impressed. They were concerned that there was a chance it would be hard to spot against the blue sky. And seeing it up here, it's a lighter shade of blue than I thought it would be actually in the sun. So yeah. So they settled on a livery where this white on the top runs up onto the tail. But yeah, they had aircraft like this, small regional jets. Thank you again, Klaus. Thank you for your donation. Really, really appreciate it. Heather Van Der Veen says, give nav some time. I think it just has to be straight. Yeah. What I'm going to do, I'm going to turn off the autopilot. I'm going to engage nav. Let's have a go. Let's have a go. Am I being too fussy with it? What I want to point out is in the real aircraft, if you do it direct, what it does is it will immediately set an arc in front of you for the turn, so it actually applies the spacing. Ah, yeah, you're right. Yeah, I'm being too fussy. All right then, autopilot 1, nav mode. Fair enough. The problem there was my range was so wide, so far out, I couldn't see that we were actually slightly off the line. And excuse time, I've got an excuse for that. The rear aircraft, it shows you down here, when you've got a deviation, it will show you how far left or right of track you are. So if we were 0.5 miles off track, it would say 0.5 right R or left. So it actually constantly tells you, and you can use that to sort of judge your track miles. It's not used so much in the cruise because we tend to just be on the green line. But yeah, it is available. So yeah, well done. Thanks for that. You made my life easier. Congo Beat says, at what level do you enable autopilot after takeoff? And do you manage climb or vertical speed climb? You'll manage climb or open climb. Rarely vertical speed unless you've got a level off coming up. And if you watch my latest video where I talk about the vertical speed, that would explain why. Autopilot is a few seconds after takeoff. The Airbus has one of the most robust and complete autopilot systems out there, especially on an aircraft of its size. So yeah, it is available to you. It's available to you once, basically, as soon as you reach it. Most people would engage it after sort of 1,000 feet. Typically, people don't want to turn it on straight away, but it's totally possible if you want to. Totally possible. Isira says, hi, do you think this will be playable on GTX 1050, 16 gigabytes of RAM? That's a good, I don't know. This mod is particularly difficult on the frames. Someone else in the chat may know. They may have a similar system, so hopefully they can. Chief Sim Pilot, good to see you. Thanks for coming along. Chief Sim Pilot, member of Simwings and also another YouTube streamer. Chief Sim Pilot says, hello all. Been in the background having my coffee. G'day folks. Special shout to Richard V. Excellent. Thanks for coming along, Chief Sim Pilot. Hope you're doing well. Vladislav says, passengers are wondering why we turn left and right. Yeah, they would be. That would be getting a bit silly, wouldn't it? All of that. Yeah, Mickey says, when I turn on the autopilot, the airplane starts spinning in circles. So people are saying if you make your dead zones, make the dead zones slightly bigger on your side stick, then that should stop that. I suspect it's because you're accidentally inputting something. Oh. I've had a similar issue on a recent stream where the rudder trim. So if you put in rudder, now this isn't true in the real aircraft, this is just in the mod I'm talking now. But if you put in rudder, the rudder trim was running in the opposite direction. And so I wasn't putting in rudder, but I think my pedals may have been leaning on them on final approach, then when I went to take out the autopilot, I realised the airplane was running with complete side slip on, and it was because of that. So yeah, maybe increase the dead zone a bit, see if that helps you. Right, after Pixis, where are we going? Pixis, Madiv. Basically given up on the airways because it doesn't seem to be able to do that. In theory, we go Pixis, then we join the airway Upper Yankee 612. I understand there's a beta installer. Yeah, it's not going to work, is it? For Navigraph to make the databases update properly, which would be nice, but I don't have that yet. So Resmi. Let me get this right. Resmi, Pixis, Madiv. Sorry about that, guys. Right. Pixis, Madiv. There we go. Insert. Madiv to Biban. Closest one, not 5,000 miles away. Insert. I don't know what happened to Biban, and then from Biban to Ekdir to Ibrid, Amtel, and then in theory an airway. I won't even try. Then Lacox for the arrival. Ah, dear. Right, there we go. Breathe. And luckily my actual cup of tea has arrived, so I'll if you guys are going to relax with a cup of tea, I will be joining you and turn this into, as I say, my Alan Partridge radio show. Vitali says, "Are you running on ultra settings?" No, I'm running on high end settings. So I have Microsoft set to its high end, and then there's one setting I set to ultra, which is windshield effects, because I just love these sort of reflections of the sunlight, and even the coffee cup appears and disappears in the window, and at night I think it's glorious. So yeah, that's the only setting I have upgraded. Gandalf says, "Do you have the Airbus stick from Thrustmaster?" I hope nobody asked. People have asked, but that's absolutely fine. I do indeed. I have the Airbus side stick from Thrustmaster. They didn't send it, I bought it, and I've got a little sort of initial impressions on the channel, so if you want an honest review, that's there. And I'm getting to the point where I think I could do the full review, because I've discovered a few quirks and issues and how to fix them and so on. So yeah. Christopher says, Navigraph nav data does help a lot. It's well worth it. Yeah, I have Navigraph, but I just don't have it integrated yet. Judy says, "Are you using RTX?" I am. RTX 3080. Isira says, "I wish they could have added an A380 to this game." Or an A380 is in development from the fly-by-wire team, but it's a long way off, but it is in progress. So you know, we've seen a lot of projects and freeware aircraft, especially A380s over the years, funnily enough, for different simulators that have come and gone and never really made it into the simulators as a fully fledged sort of thing. But the fly-by-wire team, if anyone can do it, they can. Put it that way. Matt Olsen, thank you very much for your $25 US donation. Really appreciate it, Matt. That's very kind of you. That's really generous. Matt says, "The plus side of being in the US, no conflict between watching the stream and Valentine's Day dinner with the missus. Thanks again for all the videos." You're very welcome, Matt. Thank you so much for your donation. Really appreciate it. It's very kind of you, and I hope you're doing very well, and I hope you have a good Valentine's Day dinner with the missus indeed later. Yeah, that's why I thought I'd run it slightly earlier today to avoid dinner time in the UK as well. But that's great. Even better for you guys in America in the morning. But thank you very much for the donation. Really appreciate it, Matt. That's very kind of you. Really, really nice. Pierre UK says A380 will take at least a year. Yeah, I agree. Victor Tango says, "You asked me to remind you, so I shall. Why are you not allowed to fly with just one flight director on?" Ah, great question. Okay, so if I turn off one of the flight directors, is that smoother? I really can't say. I notice a difference. I will be really honest. I don't think it matters personally to me on my setup. Maybe if I ran the FPS counter, I'm not going to do that because I know it will. Firstly, it will show you about probably 15, and secondly, it will. Oh, we're in heading still. No. Nav. Why do we lose head? That's a bit upsetting. Oh no, is all my fiddling messed it up? Nav, there we go. It's a recipe. Excellent. Yeah, so in the Airbus, unlike the Boeings, you can't choose one side or the other. And the main reason is to do with the auto thrust, funnily enough. And there have been incidents in the past where this has gone wrong. So if I want to fly now, I mean, we're not allowed, we're in RVSM airspace, so up here above flight level 290 we have to use the autopilot. But anyway, say for whatever reason we wanted to do something else, or like when we're doing our visual segment of a non-precision approach, like as we come into land, if the flight directors aren't giving us useful guidance, so on an ILS they work all the way to the runway, but on other approaches they don't, we must turn off the flight directors, because the risk is we won't be in the correct mode of auto thrust. Now that's why this is a bit of an awkward topic today, while this is missing, but it will be there in the future. But yeah, we need this to say speed. That's what it's really important. And if you turn off the flight directors, that will go into speed mode. Now, if I was to, for example, let's say I wound this altitude down to 200 and I pull it, it will go into thrust idle mode, because of course it will be a thrust idle open descent. So say thrust idle. So if I turn off the autopilot and I say I want to fly the descent manually, I then wind this down and pull it, it will go to thrust idle. Now if I am slow at putting the nose down, or I forget, or I'm not following the flight directors, then the airplane will command thrust idle all the way until you get a low speed event. It's a really important topic, but it's one that would work best, I think, if I did it in a video. So I'm gonna take a note of that, because it's a, where's my note for all the videos I haven't done yet, which is about 4 sides long at the moment. I'll take a note here. Yeah, it's a really big topic. But yeah, you risk having idle thrust while you're trying to do something else, and it has happened in real life. And it's obviously a very bad thing to happen. So by turning off the flight directors, we're forcing the airplane into speed mode. If we have them on, the airplane may use the auto thrust in a way we're not ready for. The reason we can't have one side off and one side on is because well, we've got the 2 FMGCs. It's just an extension of the same thing. You don't know, maybe if you accidentally got the other autopilot on, or the auto thrust is or isn't engaged. It's just a mess. So we never do it. Never. So we'll either have both flight directors on, or both of them off. If you have a failure, so for example, if the one side, let's say the FO side failed, then this number 2 might change to AP1, and then it will say 1FD1. It's telling you that it's running off the same system. But even so, we would apply the same procedure. We'd have them both on or both off. It's just that important. Like I said, the risk being, if the flight directors are trying to do something and we're not following them, then the auto thrust will be working with the flight directors, not with you, and it could lead to a low speed or a high speed event. For example, if I was to try and climb, let's say I was to pull flight level 390 with the autopilot off. So I turn off the autopilot like this, then I pull flight level 390. The engines will spool up, won't they? In fact, I can show you. I pull 390 like that, open climb, and there they go. And it would say thrust climb. And now we'll accelerate. But look what happens. I'm not following the flight directors, and now the speed's going to increase and increase and increase. So that's obviously no good. And that could lead to an overspeed. So let's idle the thrust levers. A bit extreme. Let's not idle them. Let's bring those back. Let's follow the flight directors, and now I've given myself a mission in the real airplane. Let's do that. There we go. Right, still in the open climb actually. That's no good. Auto thrust off. Yeah, it's slightly hard to re-engage it all when it's like this. I wonder if I put a vertical speed and then pull that. I'm curious actually. Normally if I was to pull this in the real aircraft, I reckon it would actually just engage. There we go, it's gone to open descent. Let's put that autopilot in. It should lower the nose and then capture. We should get out in a second. Or not. Let's do VS0. Engage the auto thrusts. Should get speed mode. See, it's not showing us out blue beneath it. There we go, out stuff. Yeah, that's just some little bugs in the background there. But yeah, the real aircraft, you could have just, if you're sitting at the flight level and then you just pull it, it would just instantly basically capture. It's really, really good. It shows you. It's funny, you know, seeing how complex this system is when you're trying to, or when you're seeing the hard work being done by people to rebuild this system from what the Asobo gave us, which was frankly, you know, so many things not working. And I don't say missing, I say not working. There were features that just didn't work at all, and it was really strange. And the fly-by-wire team are doing an amazing job to get it to where it needs to be. But it's amazing what Airbus came up with back in the 1980s because it's so robust. It's really quite impressive. But yeah, thank you very much, Carter Kroll. Sorry, I'm so sorry, Carter. Carter, thank you for your $2.99 US donation. Really appreciate it. Carter says, you are my favorite YouTuber. That's very kind. I'm really glad to hear it, Carter. Thank you for coming along, and thank you very much for your donation. That's really kind. And again, thank you to Matt Olson for yours as well. I hope you're both doing very well. But thank you, Carter, in America as well. So I hope you're having a good Valentine's Day. Shocks Away says, new to flight sims. Anyone having tips how to use VR without having to lift the headset off to use the keyboard? If only. I wish I had the answer to that one. I basically have as many buttons assigned to the joystick as I can. Maestro says, have you considered doing an engine failure demonstration? Definitely considered it. It's not going to work in this aeroplane at the moment. The handling and especially the rudder is not quite there yet. But yeah. Matt Olson says, why don't they turn off the flight directors automatically when you turn the autopilot off? Because we can fly, as you've seen me doing just then, hopefully, you can turn off the autopilot and follow the flight directors. That's quite normal. So the autopilot might break, but the flight directors might still work, so you can use them still. They give you useful information. Abdul Abbas, yo to you. Thanks for coming. Window Seat, our Airbus engineer who's heard me say all that, probably knows more about it than I do. Thanks for coming, Window Seat. I hope you're doing well. Giuseppe's Gaming says, I really wish the folks at Fly-by-Wire introduced a mode that mirrors button presses on both sides. Turning off and on things on both sides manually is such a bother. Yeah, fair enough, yeah. I don't know if Fly-by-Wire can do that or whether Asobo should have it, because in X-Plane, I do not want to start any animosity here, but in the Toliss in X-Plane, I can assign separate buttons. So I have a button on my joystick, one for Flight Director 1 and one for Flight Director 2. It's that important, actually. I have them available on the joystick so I can instantly press them to turn off the flight directors if I need to. So yeah, that it would be nice if Microsoft had that functionality. Same with the tiller, that's in X-Plane, but it doesn't seem to be available in Microsoft just yet. I suppose there's bigger fish to fry at the moment. Yogesh says, how many laws are there in total? That sounds like a pub quiz question. Well, there's the three main ones. So we're in normal law. There's alternate law when the airplane's degraded, and then there's direct law as you try and land. There's flare law as you come into land. There's rotate law as you take off in the NEOs. There's also upset recovery laws, which are not, there's no point knowing too much about them. They're not relevant, because if you're in that situation, the last thing you should be doing is thinking about the which law you're in. You need to just fly the airplane. But they're to do with if the airplane is finds itself sort of at an extreme angle or something, and it needs to be able to recover. So yeah, there's loads, and it does vary actually on the airplane now. The NEOs have a few more laws. Swappy S, thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing very well. Good to see you here. I hope you're doing very good this afternoon. Ross says, hey, sorry if this question has been asked a million times. During the flare, I found that even the fly-by-wire sim sensitivity is absolutely bananas. Any fixes? I think we can risk it. So common question I get. Sensitivity. Here's my joystick. Here's my sensitivity. So this is using the custom fly-by-wire system. I've got it completely linear on X and Y, which is the pitch and roll. So yeah, but that's with the custom fly-by-wire system. So that is in the installer, and I highly, highly, highly recommend it. It makes such a difference. That should help your sensitivity, especially in the flare. It's so much better now. Ed, Hello, thanks for coming along again. Ed says, on approach, what's the difference between DA, MDA? Decision altitude is your altitude, it's DH. So DA or MDA, there's no real difference these days. Once upon a time there was a bit of a difference. But if you both end in A, that means they're both altitude, so they're both based on sea level. It used to be the decision altitude was, I'm going to say the wrong thing. But yeah, as you know, in the Airbus we have just the two, but it's decision height, DH, that's height above the ground, using the radio altimeter, used for low visibility stuff. MDA, altitude above sea level, used for Cat 1 ILSs and non-precision approaches. Thank you very much for your €5 donation to Lunin. Thank you very much, really appreciate it. Leonid says, I'm doing my PPL now and have a question for you. Is it realistic how A320X flares in the landing? Often I have thrust idle and touch too late. So the flare, I think the flare feels okay now, the way they've done the flare in the custom fly-by-wire system. And by flare, we're just talking about how you pitch back. Remember, the Airbus flies down, and as you come into land in the 320, and this is in the NEOs as well, although actually not the 321 NEOs, but that's a whole other story. But in the NEOs and the older aircraft, you have to start putting back on the side stick somewhere from 30 feet, maybe slightly earlier. And by doing that, you just raise the nose a few degrees, and you have to actually hold a bit of back pressure pretty much to touch down. The reason is the aeroplane is actually putting the nose down slightly. As you pass through, I think it's 50 feet, it memorizes a position, and then it starts to lower the nose a bit. It trims forward. So it's actually putting itself out of trim and forcing you to pull back slightly, and they've done that on purpose. Because it's got this fly-by-wire system, they wanted a way where it's designed to give better feedback to the pilots. There we go, lovely. So yeah. Now, the fly-by-wire mod in it is it's very good, and they fixed that because in the default 320 it's hopeless. Yeah, it's too sensitive and it doesn't behave right. One thing that's still a problem in this aeroplane, something for the future, I'm sure, is that there's not enough drag. So it doesn't have enough power on during the approach. The engine sits too low. The thrust is too low. And that's a general thing with this airplane, where there's just not quite enough drag on it, especially when you're landing. The result is it's easy for it to float along a bit far. So the flare feel is okay, but there is a habit or a risk of floating along a bit. I do agree with that. Yeah. Yogesh says, would love to see you fly from Lukla to Paro. Would be one of the most dangerous flights ever. Yeah, I've heard so much about Paro. I keep hearing about Paro. I mean, it's all over YouTube. I haven't. I've never. I think maybe I tried one of the landing challenges on it once, but yeah, I have to take a better look. Right. Oh, thank you very much, Gordon Thorne. Thank you for your $25 donation. Really appreciate it, Gordon. Gordon says, thank you for all the great content you put out. Keep up the amazing job at 320 Simple. That's really kind, Gordon. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. That's incredibly generous of you. Thank you very much, and I hope you're doing well over in America. I'm glad you enjoy the videos. Yeah, loads more videos to come, but thank you so much. Really kind. Thank you very much for your donation, Gordon. You guys, as ever, far too generous. Yeah, very kind, very kind. Butty2, good afternoon to you. Thanks for coming along. Jumped on the tail from Bournemouth as planned. Looks a bit hectic in Exeter. Yes, it was a bit hectic. Hope the rest are doing okay. Martin says, just wanted to say thanks for all your vids. I have learnt to fly this piece from scratch thanks to you. That's great to hear, Martin. Thank you for coming along and saying so. Really glad the videos have helped. Parasim says, if you turn off flight directors on localizer approaches, can you use the bird for vertical guidance in Microsoft Flight Simulator? As long as you have the correct version of this mod, the bird is available. It's not vertical guidance as such. It won't show you where to fly. It just shows you what you are doing. But yeah, the bird for raw data ILS is very handy if you've turned off the flight directors. And we'll use track FPA for non-precision approaches, as I showed going to Corfu. Leonid says, thank you very much. Feels like an Airbus, so light as Cessna, but it should be much heavier. Yeah, in the real aircraft, 30 feet, you flare, you pull back by a couple of degrees, or whatever it needs to be. You just pitch up a little bit, hold it there, let it settle down. In this one, sometimes that can float along a bit, but it's not bad. It's not bad. Remember, the real aircraft is, it's completely hydraulic, unlike the Cessna. and this has just got springs or dampening in it, so the weight is purely artificial. If you took out all the dampening, you could move this around as easier than your joystick at home. So there are, you know, it isn't actually heavier to fly than your Cessna, because your Cessna is just, you're actually feeling the airflow over the controls, which you're just not in modern airliners at all. And that goes of, you know, hydraulic airliners, so everything, 737 as well, you're not actually getting quite the same thing as in the Cessna. So sometimes little aeroplanes can be heavier on the controls. But yeah, thank you again to Gordon Thorne for your donation, really appreciate it, thank you. Paddy does it again, says 32. Yeah, Paddy. So this is Air UK. Air UK I didn't know much about, but they existed in the UK from 1980 to 1998, so quite a while. And then they became KLM UK, which went on to, I think part of that went into KLM City Hopper. But it was a completely private independent airline that had this lovely livery. They actually formed through lots of mergers of little regional airlines, so they mostly flew smaller regional aircraft like Dashes and Shorts and things like that. They had bases or operated into lots and lots of little airports, London City, Exeter, and this sort of place. So yeah, quite a unique little regional airline. But yeah, just not one I was familiar with. They did have Air UK Leisure, a little charter outfit for a while as well. James Keats, thanks for coming along. Glad you like livery. Paddy's hard work as ever. Victor Tango flew as a passenger to Leclerc. It's definitely not for those scared to fly. Fantastic. Awesome. Yeah, I can imagine that is scary, Leclerc. Yeah. Mad Trucker says, what are your tips on getting started with flying with online ATC? I want to start doing it, but I'm scared to do it. Tips are, pick an aeroplane you know very well. That's the best idea. Make sure, if you have one that's slower, then use that. Sit in a big airport or a small airport, just one with a controller, but sit there and listen for a while just to pick up what people are doing. There's some good tutorials on YouTube, of course. But yeah, and pick, you know, don't try and fly from Gatwick. pick a smaller style airports. It looked worse than it normally would do on my stream, and again, I always hope not to put people off with my videos, but on my stream it looked terrible because that was unusual. There were so many of us trying to leave Exeter at once, and then we had the routing issue, which is my mistake. I should have checked that route more carefully. Rosen says, do you know why sometimes my audible call out 1000, 500, 200, 100 on landing does not work? Been puzzling me using the same airport. I can't help you, I'm afraid. Funnily enough though, in real life those call-outs may not always occur. Every now and then the radio altimeter or the computers will prioritise something else and you won't get the call-out. And it's amazing how distracting that is. Oh, let's check if we're doing the right thing. Yes. It is amazing how distracting that is, where it doesn't tell you, because as pilots we listen so... It becomes just so part of your landing routine to hear, you know, especially the 30-foot call-out. If it doesn't come, it often throws people off. It's a surprisingly small thing, but it makes a big difference. And obviously, if your radio altimeters fail, and they are, you know, they the radio altimeters, they are modelled here actually, I think. They certainly are. Toliss, yeah, that's these. So there's not actually that many. I don't know why the Sobo has so many. There's only supposed to be 4 bumps, because one pings it down, one receives, pings down and receives. But they sit in the bottom of the airplane, you know, where coffee and things will build up over time. So they do have a little habit of being a bit temperamental. I must say, again, though, as ever, the Airbus ones are very good, very reliable. Russ says, any plans to do a video on diverting to a different airport than planned, how to reroute? So I've done sort of attempts at that. I've done a video on how to change your flight plan in Microsoft Flight Simulator. There's a video like that on my channel. Captain Geo, thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing well. Good afternoon to you. Mick says, so good place to start as it's one runway. Yeah, somewhere with one runway is is a nice, like Edinburgh. Just listen to a few airplanes as they get their clearance. But I am hoping to do a video where I talk through it. My video would be very Euro specific because it's just where I fly, and in America I believe it's totally different. Totally different. Raptros says, from someone who did their first VATSIM flights on Friday using your videos as a guide, there's really nothing to be scared about with VATSIM ATC. If you're inexperienced, then they will help you. Yeah, absolutely, Raptros. Yeah, that's great to hear. Thanks. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thank you for coming along and saying that. And yeah, if you're nervous of using VATSIM, as I said, in a smaller airport, they'll help you out. They'll just be less likely to be too pleased if it's somewhere like Gatwick. I mean, in theory, I think they should have no trouble with inexperienced people joining the network because it's all part of the fun, having more traffic. And I'm sure most of the time they're very happy. I know we had one stream where we were in Gatwick and there was a bit of stress, shall I say, because it got so busy. That's why we don't do Gatwick. Checkpoint says Airbus should sponsor you. You're making good advertisements for them. Well, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Imagine that. Yeah, that would be brilliant. Luis Carlier says, hi there, where do you get your charts from? Are they in the EFB? No, I'm using Navigraph. So, this is the little Navigraph app. It's all wrong now, but yeah, we're somewhere here in France. But yeah, I use Navigraph. Roland, it says, I have a question. When you're looking at the approach plates and there's a table of MDAs and DH for different cat approaches, how do you know which one to pick for the A320? Yeah, we can do that. No. Right, we're turning for a long time here. Let me just... Again, the real aircraft is really good at smoothing out the turns. It wouldn't get itself into this situation. So I assume it's gone through the line. Yeah, no, the real aircraft would have drawn a line. It knows it can fly. It actually draws those lines based on sort of all sorts of algorithms. And it even does that based on your weight and speed and everything. Very clever stuff. Yeah, good tailwind now. So that tailwind has appeared, which is great news. Right, how do we know? Well, let me bring up... I suppose I can just bring up the charts for our arrival, can't I? Let me do that. LRZ. Approach, RS Zulu 01. Now this is a good one actually because there's so many. They're not all this complicated. Now you'll all have to shout at me when I leave the charts up there. But there we go. Right, so straight in landing for runway 01. There's Panzops. Sorry, no, it's Panzops. But there we go. Category A, B, C, and D. Now this is to do with the approach speed that your aircraft might end up flying. Now we've gone through the other way. Yeah, so we're a Cat C aeroplane in the 320, so you're interested in Cat C stuff. So this is showing us the RVR you require, probably not of concern at this stage for flight sim, but there we go. So up here we've got all these different minimas, so you can see it says C and D. It's important to remember you're in a Cat C aeroplane in the 320 NEO, Cat C. It's to do with the approach speeds. Some airplanes are Cat D, and that would be things like maybe... There were some 321s that could be Cat D when they were fully, because of the way they could be fully loaded. It's important to note it doesn't change. Some people think this changes based on your approach speed on the day, but I don't believe that's the case. I believe you're a category airplane based on the max landing weight. But there we go. Anyway, this discussion did come up actually a few months ago on the channel. I remember we had a big talk about it. But yeah, my understanding is that it will not change based on your approach speed on the day. It's to do with the certification of the airplane. Now we know we need DA or H, so they're the same thing. You just choose which one you want. So if you're not doing a low visibility approach, which most of the time you won't be, then you're going to use the decision altitude, DA, otherwise known as MDA, minimum descent altitude. It's the same thing in this context. So we're going to enter 955 into the Airbus, 955, because we're Cat C, and that's our decision altitude. The height, if we were doing a DH, is 288, but they're the same thing, but you just got to make sure you enter them in the right one. So normally you'll use the big one, which is why it's written big like that. So it's 955 above sea level, 288 feet above the runway. The reason there's several along here, well, in fact there's two different ones for the ILS. This is the localizer only. But if we're doing the ILS, there's two. Missed approach climb gradient minimum 5%, missed approach climb gradient minimum 2%. And sometimes that's abbreviated, but if you see these percentages, what it's meaning is if you have an engine failure, we need to be able to climb at 5% angle as we come up the other sides. And that's if we use this minima. Now, if we can't, because our aeroplane doesn't have that performance, and it could be that it's too heavy, it's too hot, there's a tailwind, this sort of thing. If we can't do that, then we can go into this column, and you see it's 2.5. So maybe we have 3%. So then we'll be in this column, and then we'll use Cat C, so 1224. The reason this one is higher is because it has a lower gradient required. Basically, the idea is if you go around from here, you'll be higher by the time you reach this waypoint, or this point, you know, off the other side of the runway. If you go lower and then you go around, you'll be lower. You'll be down here somewhere. So that's why there's higher minima. But the magic is, if you go around from earlier, so you're not visual, you have to go around, you'll be safe because you can do a shallower climb. I hope that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. Victor Tango says, I did fly from Heathrow and Gatwick and I'm not very experienced with that sim, but the controllers are always professional and helpful. There you go. Even better. Excellent. Justine, thank you for coming along. Justine Gravick, I hope you're doing well. We are doing well here, I think. Yogesh says, does Boeing planes use fly-by-wire? They do. Some of them do. Yeah, some of them have fly-by-wire systems in them. Yeah, but not the same. They don't have the same protections and law, but they might have flight controls that are controlled electronically. Yeah, well, they're controlled hydraulically, but they get the signal electronically, sort of thing. Captain Joe had a great video on that. Vitali says, what does aircraft A320N mean on the top bar? What is that top bar? The top bar is the overlay. It's from Fly Live Studio. The A320N is just the code for this airplane. So that's what air traffic control will see on their flight plan, and it tells them that it's an A320 NEO. It's important that they know it's a NEO and not an A320 because there is a difference in the approach speeds that you'll expect to fly. Yeah, Mr. Espresso says we should soon fly over Geneva. Yeah, let's be getting there. Yeah, our little VFR map for you guys. There we are, zooming along. There's Geneva on the edge of its lake. Peter Fitch, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Thanks for coming along. Simon Forrester says, Bristol to Edinburgh was a route I travelled many times in real life, and it was the one I practiced at when I first started with VATSIM. Simple procedures, easy taxiways. Yeah, Bristol, Edinburgh. Could be a nice route. Checkpoint says, me and Bacon Warrior were discussing the purple dotted line on the last chart on OFP. We found it to be the tropopause. What is the impact of it on flying? Wow, that's a meteorology question. So tropopause, right, you're testing my knowledge here, so there'll be, if there's any meteorologists in the chat, tell me what I'm doing wrong. So, in the atmosphere, the temperature of the air, the ambient temperature outside, and we can see it here, sat to minus 62, static air temperature. That's the temperature outside. That, say it's 10 degrees on the ground, it will reduce usually by about 2 degrees for every 1,000 feet up you go. So it will keep reducing. But it doesn't reduce infinitely. It reaches a point where it stops reducing and it actually stays the same. And that's called the tropopause. It's where the temperature stops dropping. And it varies in altitude around the world. As you're up near the poles, it's actually lower down, and when you're down at the equator, it's further out. So, a high tropopause, and in summer as well, it'll be higher. A high tropopause is an issue because thunderstorms will keep rising and rising and rising, and big cumulus clouds that turn into thunderstorms until they reach the tropopause. They will go through it if they're really powerful, they can punch through it. But essentially, because the temperature stops dropping, then it stops having the imbalance that is what's needed to sort of fuel them, and that's why they stop growing past that point. If you have a high tropopause, you risk, or you have higher thunderstorms. If the tropopause today was at flight level 320, for example, we'd be above it, so we could say pretty reliably know we'd probably be above most weather or thunderstorms that are out there. But if the tropopause today was 450, then it's above us, then the thunderstorms that are growing could easily grow up through our flight level. That's the sort of significance of it that I understand. Checkpoint says well done. I'm just leaving the silence to hang there while you guys find out the real answer. I haven't. That would be my answer for it. Yeah, that's all I can say. Oh, we'd have airports up, wouldn't we? And then we'd see Geneva coming up. Vitali says, I didn't think that's an issue at in these altitudes. Yeah, it's less of an issue, but it's thunderstorms can reach 37,000 feet, no trouble. Yeah, but mainly further south than we are now, in the summer especially. Kilo Sierra says, question for you. You're cruising at your target flight level, but can you request higher than 370 for efficiency? You definitely could, but it's not always more efficient. Our optimum today is 390, so yeah, in theory we should go up to 390. To be honest, air traffic control don't always like that. It depends. In busy airspace, they're probably not too interested. If it was quiet, or as quiet as it is right now, then yeah, you could just do a little climb. Yeah. Some furious Googling was happening the other night. Excellent. I'm glad I helped Checkpoint, yeah. Right guys, I'm going to take a quick break and then we're going to set up for the arrival into Perugia. I'm excited to get there. It's quite a nice nice approach. Let me just see if I can set up the counter properly. So let's go for... We'll be back at basically on the hour. But a little bit sooner actually. Back at 59. Let's see if I can get that to work. There we go. So just a quick 5-minute break guys, and then we'll be ready for our setting up for our arrival. Hopefully the autopilot behaves in the meantime. So we'll see you guys very soon, and I'll set up the music for you and hopefully the timer as well. Hello, hello, we are back. Let's jump in. Oh no, not chance. No, let me show you that. There we go. Right. Now, look at that. That was a stunning, I just caught the last bit there. That's absolutely beautiful, as ever. Does an amazing job, this simulator. Getting some dumps off the Alps, it looks like. So let's have a look into the flight deck and see the turbulence we're getting. Oof, yeah. So this is mechanical turbulence from the mountains, presumably. 60 knots over the Alps. Yeah, you'd feel it. You'd feel it. And what's great is we didn't get it until we were downwind. So seatbelt science can go on, as a few of you are saying. Definitely, most definitely. Okay, yeah, sorry about the audio. I hear that maybe the volumes are a bit out of sync. Let me see, where's my... right, let me write that down for the next time. Sorry about that, guys, if yeah, if the music was too loud for you when we went on break. Okay, so we're getting there. I can't make my voice any louder, which is probably a good thing, but yeah. Yeah, so bumps like that, definitely possible. Oh, don't go left. And right. So if it's bumpy like this as well, we have a speed to fly. 7.6 is what we fly in severe turbulence. Now, a lot of people will actually, you'll see Airbus pilots will go to 7.6 more regularly, but the main advantage of 7.6 here is going to be that it just gives us buffer to that red bar. Not so much the fact that we need it for severe turbulence, but oof, well, 1,000 feet per minute is pretty bad actually. You don't normally see that. Marcus says, are you thinking of streaming on Twitch one day? I've suggested it once in the past and it didn't get a very warm reception. So I've not been considering it since then, no. But yeah, if people would like to see Twitch, I'm not very familiar with Twitch though. Look at that, lovely, lovely, lovely lighting. You can see the shadow of the ram mounts. Does the coffee cup appear and disappear? Yeah. Amazing. Yeah, so we'll leave it at 7.6 while the airplane figures out how to get over to that line. Let's get rid of that map. We made it past Geneva. Sadly, the cloud was on the north side of the Alps. It's not there on the south side. Now, even that, I mean, I don't know how this is being done. I did watch their videos when they started. But anyway, that is what you'd expect because, of course, the air is coming from here and being pushed up and condensing so that the lower air gets pushed up on the mountains, which creates the clouds. And on the south side, of course, you'd expect to have the clouds, but obviously with the Alps being so big, it doesn't quite make it. So yeah, there we go. Let's think about setting up the arrival. Music was a little loud. Yeah, perfect. I'll sort that out. Alexander Galvano says, have you heard about Flight Control Replay? It allows you to record and replay flights. I have heard about it, yeah. So I'm waiting to hear how people find it. Eric says, is it possible to stream on both? I don't know if you could stream on both at once. I can't imagine my internet would like that. That would be my biggest concern. The advantage of Twitch, I don't know. Apparently they've added the performance page. Not in the version I've got. No. No, not yet. But it could have been done today, to be honest with you. The Six Wicked Rachel says, if you search up on YouTube, there is a tutorial how to get model matching for VATSIM. There is, but I've heard also that can cause performance issues. And with all the updates coming, I try to have as few things added and installed as possible on my simulator, just because I need stability more than anything. Now, I know that sounds silly when I look at that turbulence. When I also fly the I'm going to come back to 7.5 actually, give myself a bit more room. When I fly the most experimental testing version of this mod out there, but that's a risk I'm willing to accept because it's for the purpose of the channel. But I just want to make sure that the other stuff is all good or won't get broken. Also, the more I understand it, the easier it is for me to use. So things like the texture changes for our own branded coffee cups, thanks to Andy. It's just a texture change, which is quite nice. But yeah, no, I look forward. I did see the interview with Twinfinite, who Giuseppe has been in the chat actually. Giuseppe's still here, in fact. Who's going just now? Funny enough, Giuseppe from Twinfinite, who did an interview with the team, and they said that they were going to look at, or they wanted to get it so that we could have actual airlines and airplanes in the airports. Now I hope that could be extended to the VATSIM network as well. Peter Fitch says, when you are in, and Giuseppe is leaving, so thanks for coming along, Giuseppe. I hope you're doing well. Peter Fitch says, when you are in nav mode and fiddle with the arrival, does the autopilot still change course to whatever heading is in your version with the new autopilot? We shall find out. I haven't experimented too much with the very latest one I've got here. Matteo says, those huge variations in vertical speed during cruise can't be realistic. No, they're not. No. You'd feel rough turbulence, but you wouldn't see this go up to 1,000 because you'll see we barely moved. I'm not entirely sure why. I'm not sure why. Because that is an IVSI, so you've got vertical speed indicator, but modern aircraft all have IVSIs, instantaneous or instant vertical speed indicators. They sort of cheat because a vertical speed indicator takes time to really generate the information it's giving you. So they have sort of weights in them to account for that. All sorts of clever things. I mean, that's probably not how the Airbus does it, to be fair. But anyway, yeah, you wouldn't. If I saw it go up to 1,000, then I would expect us to be climbing, not sort of sitting level. So I think it's a bit overreacting, a bit reactionary there. Yeah, we've flown Boeing several times, and in fact, funnily enough, talking about our, having our issues with nav mode today, I have been preparing. So maybe the next stream. I'm not sure if it'll be the next stream, but I've been preparing hard to fly an airplane that doesn't have this or any nav mode at all. So that could be good fun. Anthony says, does it get better with turbulence if you change directions and slightly divert from your current route? Yeah, so if we were sitting in that turbulence like that, we would ask a traffic control, is the level above us smooth or below us smooth? Oh, look at that sky. Even the lights in the valleys from the towns, amazing. And if they said, yeah, it's they might ask traffic around you or behind you, and then you could find out that one of the other levels is smoother, and you'd go there. We wouldn't sit there doing nothing, put it that way, because it was very unpleasant. Yeah, very unpleasant. UK says, how do you change the coffee cup branding? That was thanks to Andy, who I think changed the texture file, but I don't 100% know, but I think it was just a texture file change. Yeah, I feel a bit bad because of course the fly-by-wire team have done an amazing job, and that's their logo that should be there, but we've got their logo there, Flypad, so people still know what we're using. Andy H1302, thanks for coming along. I hope you're doing well. If I said hi to Andy yet, I'm not sure, but Andy had a birthday recently, so happy birthday to you, Andy, and we I hope you had a good day. I saw that on Discord just earlier today actually, so I missed it, so sorry for that, but yeah, happy birthday to you. But yeah, 737-200 is incoming, it's in the works, and I'm thinking if I can learn the 737-200, then we'll start to have a chance at the Zebo mod. Sean Duff, good to see you. Afternoon. I hope you're doing well. You're very welcome, Anthony. Alexander Galfano says you should fly the 777-300ER in one of your next streams. I'm an Airbus fan, but I love the 777. Yeah, we do the 7.5. I reckon I could do the 7.6. I don't have it because I think it would look the same for the stream, and I think I prefer the 7.5, but I'd like to fly maybe the 7.6 as well. But yeah, the 777. I don't know of a good. I've heard not so good things about some of the 777s available, so I'm not sure yet if they would be what we're looking for. Ufly 2008 says carry on putting out the real vids. Thank you very much. I do aim to. I'm working on a few other things, all for the channel at the moment. So yeah, there's hopefully going to be good fun. There's that Earth Shadow, which I can't get enough of. Right, let's accelerate again out the turbulence, away from the hills. So this will be well, I think, have we reached Milan? Yeah, there it is. Milan, Malpensa, Linate, all down there. Anyway, we're entering Italy, so time to think about what we're going to go and do. is expected to be the Lacox 1 Lima. Let's see if I can bring up the right one. Lacox 1 Bravo, 1 Alpha, 1 Lima. There it is. And then I went to the ILS Zulu for 01. And now another tiny airport, so luckily, well, we'll talk about it when we get there. Okay, right. Again, shout at me when the charts don't come off the screen because I've forgotten. So here's the plan. We're going to come in by a Lacox. I did try this earlier, and for some reason the database just didn't want to show that waypoint, and I don't. Oh, it is here today. I can't keep up with it. Right, let's go to plan. Zoom in and constraints, so we can see what the airplane's thinking, and see if we can get a nice angle. This is difficult. Right, okay, let me show you on the chart first. Right, so Lacox, then we're going to come around, fly this DME arc all the way around, and then into Derricks. Derricks is our start of the ILS. Derricks is here. We need to be at Derricks, not at 5,000, that would be from the hold. We can actually be at Derricks at 3,400 because we'll be coming inbound. From 3,400 after Derricks, we can descend to 2,820, one of the strangest platform altitudes I've ever seen. Maybe this isn't. Maybe they wouldn't use the Zulu normally. I don't know. I've never been here, obviously. But yeah, we'll descend from 6 miles. So that's interesting. It shows us the elevation of this airfield is pretty high because 2,000 feet is usually how high you'd be at 6 miles. But as you can see, the runway is 670 feet up. So, yeah, 2,200 feet above the ground here. So by this point, flap 2, managed speed, after 6 miles, shortly after joining the ILS, we'll put the gear down and configure fully for a flat full landing. Short runway here, so definitely a medium auto brake sort of day, especially at 60 tons. Because as we can see, the airport is 2,199 meters. Luckily, the threshold isn't inset. Sometimes you'll see the threshold is actually here. So even though the runway is 2,200 meters long almost, you won't actually get that room to land on, but we do today, pretty much. Yeah, so it's all pretty reasonable. We're going to fly around this arc into Derricks and then in, and hopefully all the traffic coming behind us can just follow us in, Lacox, and then round and in. Downside is the go around takes us right back in the path of the other traffic. So it's really important we all stick to our altitudes for this one. So if we go around, climb to 4,000 feet. So I'm going to climb 4,000 feet, left turn, get on the 248 radial outbound. From the Papa Romeo uniform to Retku and hold. Retku and hold out there, which we can do quite easily. So let me get rid of the charts for you guys. Let's just see if the box is thinking the same thing. So there's Lacox, and look at that. There's around that arc, and you can see it says above 9,000 for all of those. The chart, what does the chart say? The chart wants us to be flight level 90. Okay, fair enough. 909090 to 241. And then we can descend Derricks at 5,000. But that 5,000 at Derricks is a bit misleading, I think, because that would be if you were in the hold. I think we can actually be a bit lower as we come around there once we're inbound. And then inbound we go. So again, VNAV's not going to work, but we never use it anyway, and into the ILS. So that's the flight plan checked. RadNav now, important. ILS 110.95, which is correct frequency for this ILS. As you can see. 1095, India Papa Echo, course is 013. Great stuff. So that's all tuned. But look at our go around. It says we're going to have to use the Papa Romeo Uniform VOR 109.4. So I'm going to put that in. Papa Romeo Uniform 109.4. It's tuned it. And the course 248. That is the course I'm going to need to follow if we go around. So if we need it, if we go around, I'll climb straight ahead 4,000 feet, and then I will turn on to 248 and fly away from the VOR out to Retku. Retku is at 13 miles out from that VOR. So that gives us a good go around plan, and we'll be at 4,000 feet, which means we'll be below the traffic coming in behind us. Andy Robinson says 77773. I'd watch you fly a washing machine with wings, and we'll probably learn something new. That's very kind, Andy. Yeah, 737-200 is coming soon, guys. I'm really excited. Well, hey, there's some. Now that is bad turbulence. Wowie. Let's get that speed back. 76. I've never seen the Airbus do that. Never seen any airplane actually do that much of a deviation. Let's figure out how far are we. It's not beside the descent points. So, still over 120 miles. We're at 37,000 feet. So, we all know the maths by now. 37 times 3 plus 10. So, we need 121 nautical miles. Yeah, I did use a calculator. I cheated. There we go. And that is sort of straight in. We actually got a few more miles as we fly around that arc. So, we're pretty comfortable. This is going to be a pretty relaxed arrival because we've got that whole arc to fly around where we can descend if we're high. But yeah, so really, I want to be 90 as I actually, it can be higher than 90 as we reach the arc. So yeah, we don't need to do it 120 miles straight away from the airport. We've got a bit of extra space here. Strong tailwind though. You'll notice our tailwind is almost 50 knots because we're going through the air at 430 knots, but we're moving over the ground at 480. So 50 knots of tailwind. So that's something to consider. So really, we need almost 100, maybe 130 miles to touch down. But as I said, that's going to be more based on our flight plan, which does seem to work now actually. So I'll base it on this distance in here. Yeah, this didn't update for a while. Now it doesn't think we're going to arrive with much fuel, which is a little bit concerning. Not sure why it thinks that. Can we get some weather? Yeah, I'm really excited to try out the 732. So thank you all guys. It was very kind of you guys who all said last time that you wanted to see it. And I love the challenge of a new aircraft. And 737-200, think how many retro liveries I could find for the 737-200 straight away. So that was great. Very happy. All loads of cheat lines running down the windows. Andy says, got the week off. If you need a hand with the 732, give me a shout on Discord. Will do, Andy. Yeah, will do. What I like about the 732 well, I'll talk about it when we stream it. How about that? The wind is about to get very unkind, says Vati2. Yeah, agreed. Simon says, oddly, this short runway is still 500 feet longer than Bristol. Yeah, Bristol is very short, yeah. Lucas, for your question, talking about being left high using managed descent, I almost never make it down in time anyhow. Are you using Microsoft Flight Simulator, Lucas? Because the VNav in this is not really working yet. Oh, no. Am I even connected to VATSIM? Yeah, should be. And I'm not using VATSIM for this. There is a tower available, which is amazing. Amazing. Is there an ATIS? No ATIS. Right, yeah, we're not having much luck with the old weathers today. I don't really know why. I don't think I've changed anything in here. Well, there's no point doing that. There's nothing available there. I'm just going to have to look it up on my phone on AeroWeather. So I can tell you, currently, or 27 minutes ago, in Perugia, it was 04010, so the wind has calmed down, which is nice. Few clouds, 6,300 feet, which is also nice. QNH 1034, that would explain the nice weather. Temperature is 2. Oh, it's cold. It is cold. Partly that elevation, as we said earlier, temperature reduces as you go up, so higher up airports like Munich and places tend to be colder. Wind was, as I said, 04010. Important you put the right wind in. It affects ground speed mini. Okay, so there we go. Transition altitude. As I've said many times, that should be level. Let me have a look. What is the altitude normally? If we look at the departure, it will tell us. So the transition altitude here is normally 6,000 feet. So with a high QNH, I think 70. Could even be 65. But yeah, it still has this thing where we need to do that. Good stuff. Right, and if we go around, we said we're going to stop at 4,000 feet, which is only 3,500 feet above the ground. And we want to accelerate at 1,000 feet above the ground, so that's going to be about, we'll give ourselves 1,800 to make sure we definitely are above 1,000 feet above the ground. Good stuff. There we go. Flat full landing, obviously. Max reverse, I think we'll do. Why not? In a high performance flight. And that's the sun gone. Just like that. Just like that. So what do you guys want? Do you want a night flight now, or should we bring ourselves a bit of sunshine back? I'll let you guys decide. Victor Tango says I had the same issue with that sim. Couldn't get the ATIS. Yeah, okay. Not just me then. Axel Jack says, why does the red speed take decrease as you go up in altitude? Wouldn't the max airspeed of the airframe always be the same? So the max airspeed would be the same, except for the fact that as you go higher, we start flying based on Mach numbers. So this is Mach decimal 76. Set 0.76 times the speed of sound, or 76% of the speed of sound. If we get too close to the Mach number of 1, we'll start to get shockwaves on the airplane, and the airplane could stall, and it's very bad for it. It's not designed to go supersonic. So that's why that red tape is there. As you climb, your indicated airspeed, because the air is getting thinner, will reduce and reduce and reduce for the same true airspeed and the same Mach number. And that's why that happens. So that will keep coming down as you go higher because of the Mach number. Night, 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 night. I'd like it to light, night. Okay, I think we've got more nights. That's a clear one. Okay, the audience has spoken. Nighttime it is. Lauren V says, oh, good to see you, Lauren V. Thanks for coming. Says, just a little bit of light to make it a twilight approach. We've got some good use of emojis. Sorry. Sorry to the Sunshiners, but yeah, night has come, it seems. It has been a while. I haven't done it for a while. Anyway, weather looks nice, so I'm going to go terrain and we'll put weather radar on the other side. And as we get closer and closer, how many track miles have we got now? 135. Start down, as we said, about 120. Dusk. Very few dusk. Yeah, I quite like the dusk. We could do a dusk as a compromise, but I did ask, I sort of got to go with the vote. Oh, no, not the beacon. What am I doing? This one over here. Let's have dim. Bit of mood lighting. There we go. I like that. The lighting on this seat, that's really good. These seats are they're really hard wearing sort of covers. They're I'm not sure what they're made of. I'm sure there's all sorts of fire resistance and so on they have to meet, but they're really quite thickly textured. So it's quite fun seeing that. Armrests on the Airbus, if any of you are wondering, are completely rock solid plastic. Yeah, I've flown other aircraft where they have nice spongy covers on these, but in the Airbus, no, it is rock solid plastic. Although the edges aren't as sharp as this. But yeah, if anyone was interested. So you get used to it. When you first sit in it, you think, oh, it'd be nice if these could have been padded, especially when you've flown an aircraft that did have padded armrests. Axel Jack says, cheers, makes sense. You're very welcome. Carl, I'm running on high end settings, so everything's on high, only windshield effects are on ultra. So you get like that pillar showing there. 122 track miles. Strong tailwinds. Yeah, time to go down. Oh yeah, and what I meant to do, let's see, always worth checking. In the descent, it's planning to fly 288 knots. Yeah, it would actually give you the Mach number, so it's a .78/288. But anyway, that's a reasonable descent speed. Let's start down. May as well go open descent. We know the other one doesn't work. I'm going to keep the speed selected just to keep it back from that overspeed bar. It's been a long time since we've done a night flight. I sort of stopped doing them because we ended up with that 5 in a row when winter came. Funnily enough, it's now I'm starting my streams and it's daylight again, which is quite nice, because when I started this channel we used to just always be, it just felt like an afternoon sort of thing. We would just stream in the afternoon in the daylight. I used to do quite short streams as well, about 1.5 hours, as opposed to the when did we start? This started at 3, so we're on 2.5 hours already. Yeah, they've extended in length a lot. Oh, the bumps, 105 knot tailwind, my goodness. So, final check then. What I can do, for example, is press, in the real aircraft, I could convert it to speed to stop it doing this. See how it's diving and diving? That's because as we get thicker air, that Mach number's going to have to keep increasing. Oh, sorry, the airspeed will keep increasing to get the same Mach number. Look how fast. So in theory, if I go manage speed, it will target whatever Mach number it is, and then it will stop. And at 0.78, it should exchange over from Mach to speed. Let's see if it does. Sorry, at 288. Because that's what we're going to descend at. So there's 288 now, and it should stop there, and then it will be targeting the speed of 288. Well, it's worked, because now we'll see our Mach number reduce, but it would also should say speed up here as well to tell us what it's targeting. But it has worked. You see how it's pulling up, and now that Mach number will start coming down, but the airspeed will stay the same. So we're back onto airspeed. Everyone asks when does the transition come, but that's pretty much it. It's just an automatic sort of thing. H is unavailable. Fair enough. Right, so have we done everything we need to do in here? So we do our little top hats. Flight plan, radnav, progress, perf, fuel, secondary. Flight plan we've definitely checked. Radnav, we've got our PRU for the go-around, and we've got the ILS. I suppose we're flying that ARC for the arrival. That ARC is actually based on the PRU 15 miles ARC, so good to have it there as a backup as well for that. Progress page, I'd normally put it in. I'll just try one last time just in case. Nope, still not working. Performance page, that's all in. Oh yeah, minima, obviously. That's why we do these backup checks. So, as we saw earlier, we're going to say we can do the best climb gradient always in this airline. 955, there we go. Although maybe with 400 passengers we might struggle. Or with 430 even, goodness me. There we go, so we got 955 for our CAT-C minima. Full, go around is all in. Fuel prediction, 3.4 extra. Actually, that's not right. Our alternate fuel, we think we need 1.1 to go to Rome. Seems reasonable. 1.1. Final of 800 gives us 2.8 extra. Loads extra. Secondary, not active, not working. There we go, 4.3 when we land. Much more realistic. Bounce, bounce, bounce. It's going to be breezy on final approach. This Reg EGT, as was mentioned earlier by our fly-by-wire team, is because we're waiting for the custom auto thrust to be added. But it's all in the works. Peter Fitch says, I cannot even run trains on Ultra. No. And Ultra, when this game came out, this simulator came out, I should say, I did see a lot of reviews from the sort of standard places, the video game channels, that said there's just not enough of a difference at Ultra. And that's often the way with PC games. We all know that there's these Ultra settings in there that don't really improve much. The only one I really like is this. I think it makes, for me, it just matters. You can even see, there you go, if I just turn up the dome lights, you see the instruments glinting away. That's so dark. So in the real aircraft, I would actually do a bit of this. And you also have this. It's never been modelled in this one though. There we go. That helps a bit. You've also got another one. There you go. That one's up there. I don't know who it's for. I've never used it really. But it gives a bit of ambience. It will help me today perhaps to see the centre pedestal if we need to. Right. Here we go then. What is a normal descent rate, says Vitali? One, that you won't turn your passengers against you. The passengers will feel the start of the descent, but they won't. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. The descent rate is, because unless you do it suddenly, it's not something people notice very much in the back. The reason you feel aeroplanes maneuver is when things change. You get G-force from acceleration. So when you turn, you're accelerating the aeroplane because you're turning it. I know that's a bit pedantic, but the point is that's why you feel the G-force. So if you did a banked turn, you feel a bit of extra weight in the cabin. When you start your descent and you push the nose down, the airplane will reduce the amount of G-force and you'll have slightly less G. Down you go. So you'll feel that. But if you gradually lower the nose over time, you could lower it way down and no one would really notice unless they were keeping a keen eye out the window, because they won't feel the change if the change is done slowly enough. But anyway, normal rates of descent, yeah, 5,000 is quite high. It might do that at the start or if there's a big wind change, but typically it's like 2,000 feet per minute, maybe 3,000, 2 to 3,000 up here. As you get lower, that will reduce a bit. Canary says, weather update 0407, clouds broken 6-1, temperature 2, dew point -8, QNH 1034. Fantastic, thank you. That's good to know. Excellent. Joe Yip, good to see you again. Joe Yip says, may I know with your own experience, how often did you really need to go around? I have never had an experience with the flights I took. No, go-arounds are rare. They are rare. You know, it's not efficient for an airline to have lots of go-arounds. That's not just that. Now, let me be clear. Go-arounds are a safety thing. We'll do them when it's safest to do so. Now, why did we just climb up? That must be a weather loading in for that new high QNH. Yeah, so, you know, but go-arounds aren't a routine part of aviation at this point. We're trained to make them routine. We practice them and brief them a lot, but they're not a routine part of aviation in general. They're just there if we need them. So, you know, I wouldn't even say 1 in 100. They're quite rare. Eric, thank you very much for your donation. Really appreciate it. 100 knock donation, very kind of you, Eric. And a sticker I haven't seen before, a fox with a heart, which is very appropriate for today. So thank you very much, Eric. Really appreciate it. And thanks for coming along and supporting the channel as always. Very kind of you. That's Eric, very, very kind. Thank you, Eric. Which Tango says, can you add DME arcs manually in the MCDU? Good question. I can't, off the top of my head, I can't tell you that. I've never had to do it. Never had to do it. A DME arc will nearly, well, I think it will always be part of an arrival. So as a result, it will be in the aircraft's database if you're using the MCDU. Now, you could fly it manually, of course, but in terms of actually entering it, if you need it, you could create it. You could sort of create waypoints based on the radial. That would be one way to do it. So you could have let's say this is based on the VOR. So you could, in theory, I think, put the VOR. There's a way, not in this mod, by the way, but there is a way to type in waypoints based on other nav points. So you could type the VOR / the radial / the DME, and that will make a point for you. So let's say it's the what's our VOR called? This is pretty technical and it won't work. Papa Romeo uniform. So I could put Papa Romeo uniform / I don't know 270 / 15, and then I could put Papa Romeo uniform / 240 / 15. And if I did that, you could draw a line, I think, around. I might try that in the Toliss, see if the Toliss has that feature. Oh yeah, QNH 1034 to put in here. But yeah, never had to do it. They are a rare thing these days, really. More likely they are now is to have an RNAV sort of arc with lots of RNAV points, because then they can get. Then if the VOR is broken, you could still fly it. You see, so. But thank you again, Eric, for your donation. Really appreciate it. FSDE says I had to go around since there was a fox on the runway once. Yeah, so it is possible. They do happen, absolutely. And obviously, it depends what sort of flying you're doing. If you're flying into smaller airports that don't have big, auto-land systems, like they don't have the ILSs that can do auto-lands, then, there's more of a chance there if it's a foggy day. No Sleep says, when do you start the chrono? The one next to the co-pilot's PFD. The co-pilot's one, but they'll start it as and when. That's up to the FO. Yeah. Is it modelled? Yeah, it is modelled. But that's... Oh, and there's this one. This one, you'd set it to run. Depends on the airline. So I typically set it to run when we push back, just to show the block time. In case the ACARS in here doesn't work properly. That way, when we park, I stop it, and then I've seen the block time. The block time is what's used for the tech log. It's what the airplane's maintenance is based on, not the actual time in the air. It's based on engines running, brakes being used, hydraulic systems being used. There's no point just measuring it in the air. So we use the block time for that. So that's why I'd start that, so you have a backup, so because otherwise you might land, and let's say the ACARS fails, or the system in here doesn't load up properly, and it gets confused, and it has happened. Rare, but it has happened. Then you can have the time there for the tech log. Ryan Lee says, I want to thank you for motivating me to get into VATSIM. Did my first departure yesterday and it went well. Excellent. Glad to hear it, Ryan Lee. Thank you very much. for coming along and saying so, and just well done. Thank you for trying, and yeah, really well done. Glad you managed. Okay, now let's check that next frequency. And thank you again to Eric for your donation. Really appreciate it. That's a good little animation. Pat says fix info page. Yeah, fix info page is not in there. I don't think it is. Has it been added? I doubt it. No. Right, I wanted to bring up the controller. Excuses for today are obviously that it's a night landing now. So there you go. That's it. I don't need any more. Oh yeah, and strong winds. So we've got 2. So loads of excuses ready for this one. 181. Okay, so here we go, leveling at 90 to fly around the arc, which is what we wanted to do. We're below 10,000 feet, so let's get the LS buttons on, ready for the approach. Let's get the landing lights on. And the seatbelt signs are still on from that the bumpy arrival. Not sure when they'll ask us to contact them. MLS is basically never used now, Dan. MLS microwave landing system was, instead of the ILS, it allowed for slightly closer spacing with certain types of aeroplanes, but I don't know of anywhere that uses it still. It wasn't fitted to many aeroplanes either. I haven't tried the holds. Kilo Sierra says, when should landing light be switched on? Usually, a lot of airlines do it below 10,000 feet. It's pretty standard sort of thing. Right, we're going around the arc. So we're 9,000 feet around the arc. If there was traffic going around, they'd be coming out this way at 4,000 feet, so we don't want to go lower. Oh, sorry, flight level 90, I should have said. A little surprised it's decided to just level off. And probably because it's slowed down now. So, I manage speed. Is there a speed limit on the arc that it's following? I'm slightly surprised the way it's doing it, but still, won't be the first thing that surprised me. Well, we're allowed to go all the way down to if ATC let us, we could go down to 5,500 at this point, and then 4,000. I think I'm going to do that now. That way I've done the... and I'm going to do it in vertical speed. So with this new system, look at that, I can just select... Oh, it's already in descent still, actually. I'll stop talking. I haven't shown it off very well. Watch my video on that if you like. It makes more sense. Peter James says, I got stuck in Manchester for 40 minutes of vaccine last week. Yeah, that can happen. Can happen. Right, we're going to 5,500. That's an altitude. Let's set that QNH. 1034. Let me just press B37. Yeah, let's make sure we have the right one for Microsoft Flight Simulator. And yeah, so in this context, the amber triangle shouldn't be there. It would actually just go for the green dots without that. But as I said, the auto thrust system is a work in progress. Now it's gone into heading. Don't know why. Don't know why. Let's try and get it to re-intercept that. Let's keep it coming down. Getting a little bit fast. Use a little bit of speed brake. Distance to go 19 miles, 8:16:24. Yeah, we are a bit high actually. Been busy chatting. So let's use the speed brake. Might dim those lights just a little bit. There we go. Can't see much out there at all. India Papa Echo, that's our ILS is now identified. Caden's asking whether I have an issue with my version. I am using one of the latest dev versions, and maybe this is the issue I'm having. Yeah. Not sure. So we're trying to follow basically a 15-mile arc from PRU, which we talked about. Luckily, I can still see my line, so I can cheat. We've got a strong wind from the left. Oh, there we go. It's re-engaged nav now. Not sure what's going on there. So it's probably going to go left and then right now. We shall see. VNav does not work yet. No, Wesley, VNav does not work yet. QNH went to 1037. Yeah, so I pressed B, and that's Microsoft seems to think it's that. Oh, I see. Now it's just going to go in circles, is it? Right, let's forget that then. Take it back to the right. Oh, it's not doing that either. How interesting. How interesting. Right, autopilot off. Flight director's off. It's no good at all. Back round we go. Let's put out flap 1, start slowing down. See if I can convince this to do a heading. Let's get the flight rates back on. There we go, vertical speed plus 100, let's do that. Autopilot. Vertical speed minus 300, a bit more please. Minus 1000, heading, autopilot 1, so we're on a heading. Right, I'm just going to have to do this myself. Anyway, we can go down below 5,500 now. Let's go to flaps 2, get more drag outs. But if I pull the speed now with flaps 2, open descent, it will really dive down. Okay, let me set traffic control once it's on 1181, I imagine. Extend left hand downwind on final number 3. Okay, extend left hand downwind. So let's bring the speed brakes in. Let's pull the vertical speed. Let's stop then at 5,500 because we've been just told by traffic to extend downwind because of the traffic on final. Just going to put the frequency up in case I'm missing out on that. Always something fun. Let's fly 4. Right, speed brakes are in. We're flap 2. Got the autopilot. We're in out mode. I'm just going to get it to climb to 5.5. Let's do 165 knots. Phil Norbeck, thank you very much for your $10 donation. Really appreciate it. Phil says, had to leave shortly after takeoff. I'm going to actually go a bit right here just to make sure we stay away. Had to leave shortly after takeoff. Just rejoined in time to land, so I'll have to watch the whole stream tonight and see what fun I miss. Good luck, Captain. Thank you very much, Phil. Really appreciate it. Thank you for your donation. I hope all is well in America for you. Yeah, very kind of you to come along. And thank you very much for your donation. Really appreciate it.
Perugia Tower, good afternoon. Small Planet 179 established on the localizer runway 01.
Small Planet 179er, good evening, Perugia Tower, continue approach runway 01.
Continue runway 01, Small Planet 179er.
Just going to extend that centre line. Does that work in this mod at the moment? It did not long ago, but there we go. Let's check in. Perugia, good evening. UK 254, 5,500 feet, heading 190.
UK 254, good evening, Perugia Tower, report full established at the runway 01.
UK 254, are we okay to intercept the ILS?
Yes, of course. Turn for file on right now.
Turning final, UK 254, apologies. Okay, that was my mistake then. Maybe that message was sent to somebody else. It appeared in a private chat to me.
Small Planet 179,
anyway.
wind 040 degrees, 7 knots, runway 01.
So all the way around, heading for the runway, it's it's a 013, so a 040 sort of heading.
Altimeter 1220, go ahead.
Will intercept us. Zero 40. Oh, there we go. There's Derek's.
Altimeter 1220, so starting up the engines.
Oh, maybe we can just go back to Derek's. Insert. Let's do that. And nav. There we go. Okay, right. 19 miles inbound. Safe at this altitude. And there's the runway. Okay, starting to come together. So what did I'm sure I got a private message telling me what to do, but maybe I got confused. Anyway, very nice for the controllers to come online for us, and yeah, we have been told we can come in. We're going to fit in behind traffic in front. That's all good. Wind is yeah, still pretty breezy, 30 knots, and there are some hills over there. You can see on the terrain, there they are, so we could be feeling those bumps at some point as we start down the INS. Derek's is 5,000 feet, so we'll descend a bit shorter. Actually, no, let's get down 5,000 feet. Otherwise, we're all nice and under control of our energy because we're quite slow. Vertical speed 500 down to 5,000 feet. That's funnily enough what the airplane thinks when you're using these modes, like I'm using vertical speed, it won't actually show you magenta. It would only use magenta if I was to do a managed descent, because it's telling you when the airplane will level off. But there you go, just a little bit of trivia there. Anthony, thank you very much for your €5 donation. Really appreciate it, Anthony. Anthony says, thanks to your streams, also got myself X-Plane 11, even though you fly Microsoft Flight Simulator mostly. Can't wait to try all the add-ons of different aircraft. X-Plane 11 is fantastic, Anthony, and I'm going to be using it soon again on the channel. Certainly I use it a lot for my streams, but a lot of my videos lately have been following the news. There's so much news in Microsoft Flight Simulator at the moment, but things will change as time goes on. Lots of news for X-Plane this year, I'm sure. But yeah, excellent. Glad you enjoyed it, and thank you very much for your €5 donation, Anthony. Really appreciate it.
Perugia Tower, UK 572 is established on 20 miles per 201.
Oh, there we go. That's my fault. I might speed up a little bit.
Perugia Tower, continue
do 185.
01, number 2.
Still 15 miles out. That's perfectly reasonable.
Approach number 2 for UK 572.
Don't know what that was. Very interesting. Right. Approach checklist then. Briefing confirmed. Decam status is checked. Seatbelts are on indeed. RF is set. MDA set. And engine mode selector, it can be in norm. Okay, well we are cleared for the approach, but firstly I want to descend down a bit more. We said...
Tower Airbus Lumiti 1220,
as we
ready
get
for
within
taxi.
12 miles, in fact we can get us to 4,000 feet now.
Taxi to holding points Alpha Romeo 01 via Romeo and Alpha.
And now to show you the new autopilot, just pull that and it works. Then we go to 4,000. Let's do 1,400 feet per minute. That should be okay because we have the flap 2 out, so that will give us the drag. So then we go to 4,000. Again, that should be showing up there. And we're cleared for the approach. So let's arm the approach. There's lock star. Oh, well, now we're on the localizer. Let's wind that vertical speed back up and let it intercept the glide slope. 700, a bit less. Let's do 500 feet per minute. Victor Tango, so excuses for this one. Night landing and windy. We'll go with those two. Right, any second now we'll get glide slope star.
Small planet 179, vacate via Charlie.
Phil Norbeck says, I do love the Toliss as well. Had the 321 NEO and just got the 319 for fun. Yeah, excellent.
Lumiti 1220, report ready for departure.
Alright, there we go then. There we go. Glide slope star. 4,000 feet for the go-round is in. It should show up as blue. Like I say, we're not in a managed descent or climb, so that wouldn't be there like that in the real aircraft. There we go. That's the price you pay for flying in a big group. It's good fun. Good fun. Well, there's not much of a view out the window.
Fort Planet 179, runway vacated.
Anthony says yes, that's why we wanted a night landing. Excellent.
Taxi to stand at your choice via Charlie, Bravo and Romeo.
Taxi via Charlie, Bravo, Romeo to stand of choice, Small Planet 179, thank you.
Okay, remember we said 6 miles would be 160.
1220 ready for, are you able to mediate takeoff?
Do 165. Ooh.
Airbus Lumiti 1220, ready for departure for immediate
So he's going to get someone off in front of us, so that's a big clue to me to slow down now, because there's no point rushing down the ILS if he's trying to squeeze air traffic in front of us.
Clear for takeoff, runway 01, Airbus Lumiti 1220.
UK 254, established ILS 01, 7 miles.
UK 254, good evening, Perugia Tower. Continue approach around 01.
Continue approach 01, UK 254. 6 miles, 160 knots, we are slowing down. As I said, this is the classic example. With flap 2 out and a strong headwind, the speed would come back quite easily from 170 to 160, I think. So I think there's just not quite enough drag yet modelled. So let's put the gear down, arm the ground spoilers, put the last of the lights on. Oh no, on please, and on, and let's ding dong. Manage speed. I don't know why I'm making it more difficult. There we go. And flaps to 3. Flaps to full. Landing checklist. Cabin is secured. All the thrust is in speed, although we can't see it, but I know it is. Going altitude 4,000 feet is set. Again, it's not showing there, but it is up there. Eco memo, landing no blue. So there we go. Just waiting for landing clearance now.
UK 254, wind 040 degrees, 7 knots, runway 01, clear to land.
Clear to land, 01, UK 254. Excellent, right, let's see.
Mickey 1220, monitor Unicom 122, that's my ciao.
Oh no, don't do that, don't.
Monitor Unicom 122.8, Mickey 1220, thanks and goodbye.
See how it's still at idle thrust. So with gear down and flat fall, this would be a quicker experience than this. And I should have said, after landing, plan is to vacate off to the left, probably at the
Alitalia,
end
enough, fully established, Elias, runway 01, 15 miles.
No, we won't auto-land this one, though. So there's 1,000 feet, we are stable. Let's take out that autopilot. Let me just make sure I'm sitting comfortably. I hope you're all sitting comfortably too. And autopilot off. There we go. So reverts to Cat 1. Oh yeah, they re-added Cat 3 dual and Cat 1 and so on there, which is great news. Here we come. So the wind is from the right, so the thing that Microsoft Flight Simulator, it still catches me out, it's just the rudder sensitivity is so hard to get right. The problem is the nose wheel steering is tied into the rudder, so it just makes it so sensitive. Right, here we go then. Running, I like the lead-in lights working properly. The running rabbits is cool, where those lights flash to follow you in. It always makes you feel like you're landing at a really big airport when you have those. Funnily enough, some of the biggest airports don't have them, and some of the smallest airports do. Right, that thrust is a bit low. Come on, airplane, wake up. There we go. 44%. That's still lower than I'd expect in real life, but good enough for this. Okay. Aiming towards the middle of the touchdown zone. Vertical speed a bit high. Into the flare. Idle thrust, rudder to keep it straight, left rudder, hold it there. Touchdown. Let's just focus on that rudder. Okay. Wow, it stopped quickly. Almost made that exit. So I'm going to cancel the reverse. We'll stick with idle reverse, release those brakes. We'll go with manual brakes. And we need to get to the end of the runway. Not too fast, but there we go. Yeah, quite breezy from the right. I had to really squeeze that rudder in there to get the airplane staying on the runway. How did it go then, guys? How did it go?
UK 254 reports runway vacated.
Wilco, UK 254. Yeah, nice effects. I think these landing lights out the front should shine a bit further forwards. I think that's a little bit close. That would be my one thing. But yeah, really nice graphics. That worked out, did it? Excellent news. Right, we're getting close to the runway end, so 40 knots, a bit fast. Let's get those brakes on. Get ourselves clear for our colleague, who will probably see landing as we backtrack.
Tower Air at Lee 467 with you, just about to join the localizer.
There we go.
Italy 467, continue approach ground 01.
Fantastic.
Continue approach.
Sounds like it went well. Excellent news. Thanks very much, Swappy. But 100 rupee. Thank you, Swappy, for your donation. Really appreciate it. Very kind. So we can report vacated once we're over this line. This sim has its moments. It is.
UK 572, wind 040 degrees, 7 knots, runway 01, clear to land.
He's worked out. How close were they? Oh, look at the aircraft on approach. That's great fun. Runway vacated, UK 254.
Taxi via Charlie, Bravo, Romeo, stand at your choice.
Sorry, can you say again for UK 254?
Taxi via Charlie, Bravo, Romeo, stand at your choice.
Thank you, Charlie, Bravo, Romeo, stand of our choice, UK 254. Very nice controller. Very nice of them to come on and deal with all this traffic all at once. So I very much appreciate it. And I feel bad that I messed them up a bit by heading downwind like that when I got confused with all the different messages I was getting. But there we go. Right, let's get to those landing lights. Thank you again, Swappy, for your donation. Really appreciate it. Strobe lights to auto. Let's get the APU up and running. You can see that green flashing, which is the airport beacon. So this is quite a well-modelled airport by the sound of it, or by the looks of it. Then we've got traffic out there who's going to land very shortly. So 25 knots, that's not too bad. Let me bring up the charts. I won't block your guys' view of the chart, but we're going Charlie, Bravo. It's going to be the next right. and then into the main sort of parking
UK
area.
572, report runway vacate.
Okay, UK 576.
Oh, did we miss someone? Oh, there's someone landing. Oh, we missed it. Hard to see at night. It's funny, I'm not sure how it prioritizes. Yeah, well, thank you guys for coming along. Welcome to Perugia. I hope you enjoyed it. Mert, Errol, I did show my sensitivity slightly earlier in the stream, but effectively the joystick is on linear, but I'm using the custom fly-by-wire. That's the only way to make that work.
Italia 17 Alpha, wind 040 degrees.
Okay, let's get ourselves right onto the straight bit, then we'll do the rest of the cleanup. In real life, this is very much a two-pilot part of the flight where somebody's busy
UK 572, taxi by a Charlie,
taxiing,
Bravo,
and the other person can do the
Romeo,
rest. So, there we go, right. Get rid of those spoilers.
Taxi by
Flaps to 0.
Charlie,
Transponder.
First stand. Have my
Get rid of the TARA. APU's up and running. Right, I think we're in a good place. Weather radar can come off. Predictive wind shear off. And we've got some more of our colleagues landing. Hard to see with all our lights on. These Neos have such bright lights. Look at that queue. Fantastic. That is really good. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Thanks to those who flew along, and obviously thanks to the moderators. Thanks to those of you who donated very generously to the channel. Really appreciate it. I hope you've all had a good time. I've really enjoyed it. It's always good fun. As I said, lots more videos coming on the channel. I've got a big backlog of videos I'm working on, as well as some. Let's slow down. Some other little projects for the channel. Also, Boeing 737-200 stream in the works, coming soon. I'm not sure if it'll be the next one or not, but yeah, on the way. Right, let me just pick a stand. So we're in Bravo. Let's just go in front of us here. Let's not make our lives difficult. I'm going to have to leave. Now, in real life, we turn off the lights, but you'd have a marshaller or some sort of guidance, whereas I can't actually see. Is there a line out there for us?
Yes, I'm sorry, Ridley 467, we're established from 01.
Roger, Italy 467, continue approach runway 01, number 2.
Continue approach 01, number 2.
Let's go
Ridley
left and then right. Let's go park out of the way. Let's do that. There's more traffic landing. Great fun. I'm glad we all made it, considering the mess at the start. Again, apologies for the flight plan routing. It was just what SimBrief gave me, but I should have realised that point was too close. It's very hard to work out where these waypoints are supposed to be when you don't have actual SIDs published. We're just going to park wherever. That's what he told us. We'll just go over here. There's the tower. We'll just squeeze in the other side of our colleague here. It is a tiny airport, this one, so not only I think about 4 airlines come here. Right, there we go. Brake set. APU is definitely available. Let's get rid of those nose lights. And something often pilots do here, put that dome light on, then we can see everything a bit easier, and the ground crew can see us. Oh no, use my TCA, engines off. Passenger sign off. Spooling down, beacon off. Fantastic. Well, thank you all so much. Thanks for coming along. Welcome to Perugia. Let's have a quick look in the chat. Spear UK says, meanwhile, there is a mod for replays. Yeah, the replay mod I'll definitely have a look at. I'm sure you guys will enjoy that. And I'd enjoy it as well for the and for video making as well. Kadari says, as soon as I have my own PC built, I'll fly with you. Yeah, you have to fly along. Everyone's always welcome to, plus the group flights. Thank you all for coming along. Swappy S as well says, thanks for the great stream as always. Looking forward to the 7-3. Yeah, me too. Me too. Sadly, I don't have flight control replay yet, guys. Yeah, maybe I need to definitely get that sorted for the next one. But yeah. No Sleep says, is there anything in Boeing planes that you wish were in Airbus? Well, come along to our next stream. It'll be in a Boeing, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, we'll talk about Boeings v Airbus. Thank you all so much, guys. Again, thanks to the moderators. Thanks to those who flew along. Thanks to those who kindly donated. And just thanks for coming on, watching and chatting. Really, really appreciate it. Right. What we're going to do here is give you the... Actually, I need to do... I'll leave that going. Let's get the outro music going. I'm going to turn down the volume. Oh, I say that. Sorry. Let's see if that works. Right, guys. Thank you all so much for coming along. You have a great evening. Enjoy the rest of your Valentine's Day. Really appreciate it. And we'll see you again in another video or live stream soon. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
UK 246, go around.
Go around UK 246.
Shutdown. Speedbird 247 Bravo, request information to establish on the good 01.
Speed 247 Bravo, good evening Perugia Tower, you can join now on final, runway 01.
Runway 01. 247 Bravo there.